The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Merriam-Webster announced that one of the site's most looked up words of 2023 was Riz, which is slang for charisma. But if you have to look it up, bitch, you ain't got it.
Hey, what are you doing home from work?
Yeah, some sicko called in a bomb scare, and they confiscated everyone's phones, and I was told to take the day off.
Peter, did you call in the bomb scare?
God, you sound just like them. For the last time, maybe.
Well, since you're home, you can watch my daytime shows with me. Hello?
There's a bomb in the TV. Leave the remote and exit the room.
Nice try, but we're watching The View. It's showtime.
And there you go. Another work week has begun. We'd like to welcome you, every last one of you, to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. We're off and running again. It's Toys for Tatas week. There's a lot of excitement and anticipation in the building for our big toy drive come Friday morning at Rick's Cabaret Gentlemen's Club, downtown Minneapolis. We'll be chatting you up all week. Try and get you to join us. Help make a donation so some kid can have a nice Christmas. Is that too much to ask while you sit high on a hill up there in your mansion? You know what? Forget it if you're going to be like that then. Just forget it. All right, maybe I've taken on the wrong vibe when it comes to this event. Maybe I approached that wrong, Josh.
Things took a turn.
Yeah, I just...
It was such a touching moment, and then all of a sudden the anger kicked in. We had our holiday...
But if they're going to be like that, then maybe we don't want them at the event.
They did develop an attitude.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. All we're asking is you show up and donate a toy for a kid.
They can afford a luxury vehicle. They can eschew domestic beers.
Yes.
But they can't just donate a toy or two?
Forget it then.
What's that to them? What is that to their net worth?
We'll just
next
try it.
to nothing.
We'll just try it next year.
All right, cancel it.
If
Cancel
that's the way
whole
people
thing.
are going to be.
Toys for Tatas was a big topic at our holiday Christmas party on Friday night.
Well, that's fun.
People talking about showing up. A few people talking about don't say anything on the air about me being there, but I'm going to bring some toys, maybe hang out, and then take off. It's one of those where even people in the building, you know, a 20-year some charitable event. People that work here, it'd be legitimate for them to show up. They don't want anybody to know
They don't want to be seen, and they don't want their name mentioned connected to the event.
No, not at all.
Well,
Which, of course, I wrote them all down, and they will be a lead topic of conversation on Friday.
Everyone who told Josh not to mention their name at the company Christmas party will be mentioning them in alphabetical order beginning at 7 a.m. Friday morning at Rick's Cabaret.
And we'll get their significant others on the phone to break it to them over the phone.
Oh, that'd be fun.
You were telling me when I first walked in the door here this morning, Josh, that I had to leave town Friday, so I missed out on our company Christmas party this past Friday. You told me that it was fairly eventless. No one got nude. Nobody pissed in the punch bowl or anything dramatic like that.
No, it was one of the more well-attended ones in years.
Oh, yeah?
It was really busy. But like any event now that I go to with my advancing age, it was too loud.
Oh, my God.
Way too loud.
My ears are still ringing.
Yeah, I had joked with... I'm the only one from the show that showed up. And I had joked with the people sitting, I forget who I was sitting with.
I friggin' knew you'd be the only one that showed up.
Everybody said they were going to show up, but it was just me.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think I was there.
No, you weren't there. I was there. I didn't see you guys.
Josh said he was there. He said he didn't see any of the rest of you. At least I mentioned ahead of time that I wasn't going to be there.
You mentioned it. Yeah, you guys said you were going to be there. You didn't show up.
I was the last one there.
You Ashley was not there.
Ashley, Dana, Wapple, nobody there. You're sitting there with the wife. What was it that made it so loud?
There was a gentleman. Now, he was a talented guy, a singer who was singing Irish folk tunes. And you would expect, well, how loud could that be? That's nice background music. You might see that at a potbelly sandwich during lunchtime. Ooh. But this guy was louder than Metallica. It was so loud.
So loud.
Irish folk songs. It's Christmas, not St. Patrick's Day.
I know. I don't know what the theory was there, but I'll tell you, there was a guy sitting across from me, looked a lot like Wapple. It wasn't Wapple because none of them showed up. He was just like straight across me. There was a person that looked like Dana, wasn't Dana. Wapple sitting right next to him. Wapple and I couldn't say anything other than just wave. It was so loud.
You mean the guy that looked like me?
Oh, gosh darn it, yes. The guy I could just call him Wapple because he looked so much like him.
He gave him the nickname of Wapple.
Yeah, come on, man.
I get it.
What the hell?
But I had mentioned there was a 5-minute intermission, and you know when you watch a war movie and there's a really loud explosion, and then the guys are picking themselves up, and then it's just complete silence, and then there's a light ringing? That's how it was.
Yeah.
You just see mouths moving.
And I'm not exaggerating. You could not hear the person next to you. There were plenty of times I was just kind of shaking my head because I got so, I was self-conscious about saying, I'm sorry, what? Can you say that again? What's that?
Well, whose friggin' idea was that, to have a blaring, loud folk singer while you folks are trying to mingle and get to know your coworkers at the company Christmas party?
Well, if Ashley would have been there, I would have guessed it was Ashley's idea.
Sounds like one of her ideas.
And when the guy would take a set break, too, it would be like, so then everybody just got to talk all of a sudden. So it'd be like you had to get everything out real quick.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? What's new? I'm good. I'm good. How about you? Like everybody just had to speed talk because we knew we had like 3 to 4 minutes before this guy cranked it back up again.
He was a good singer and
he
guitar
was very
player.
talented, no doubt, but it just wasn't the right vibe for that.
It was not what you expect.
No.
Very interesting.
I was not there, but someone told me it was hilarious because he had like a sidekick who was playing a drum, and you couldn't even hear the drum at all.
Yeah, we were joking about that. Like he looked like somebody out of Duck Dynasty.
Yep.
And I don't know if he was even playing that thing.
No.
It's kind of like
Lost himself.
when we had to do, like everybody, I'd imagine, you do those singing shows, when you're a little kid, all the parents come, they're bored.
Yep.
I would always just kind of mouth the words and not really sing. He could have just been not touching that drum, and we never would have known.
Well, that's really that's an interesting story. That's too bad because I can't stand that. Now I'm even happier that I wasn't there because I cannot stand having to scream back and forth over the sound of loud music, especially in a smaller joint like that. So dude was up there just hollering songs about foggy mornings and gravel roads
and Danny Boy
and old Irish battles and
corned beef and
counties,
rats.
I liked it.
It was
nobody liked
what? You don't think it was too loud? I mean, you weren't there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, if I was there, I would have probably thought it was a little too loud. But I liked the jams. They're pretty good songs.
Yeah, like I said, he was talented. He was a good singer. He just could have brought it down a couple of dBs.
He also was adorable.
And it was very fitting too that I happened to be walking past, before his set started, and he asked, "Oh, are you guys here for a holiday party?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What company?" I'm like, "Well, we work at 93X." So then when the set started, he's like, and shout out to everybody from 90X3. I was like, yeah, that's fitting.
Well, we've had people that work here that have done worse than that on stage.
They're not 100% sure what's going on.
Not 100% sure what we're called.
And then
they get up on.
The big boss, as high as you can go in this building, right? She gets up on stage, and she's kind of saying some nice stuff, but nobody was paying any attention. And I think it's because we were all so deaf from what was going on that nobody could tell what was happening.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those moments. She got done talking. I heard some clapping, and I was like, oh, whoop, should clap.
Yep.
Yep.
Well.
Great speech.
The only, I should say, not controversial, but the only thing that kind of stood out was my wife and I, we got there at the very beginning, and there was only like 3 people there, right? And some dude came in, one of our coworkers, and big-timed me so hard that I laughed out loud, and so did my wife. It was egregious. I mean, we're standing right there, and I give him like an enthusiastic, "What's up, man?" And he just looked at me, turned the corner, and walked away.
Oh, wow.
He big-timed you.
Oh, yeah, and it's the guy that you'd expect. He's Mr. Big Time in this building.
Yeah, I could see it.
He had more important people to get to.
Oh, absolutely. He wasn't going to talk to me.
Well,
so I was telling Nick, I almost text Nick and just say, he's done this to us before. And so I predicted something like that would happen if he showed. But I just went up and made him talk to me. I thought, okay, I'm going to go talk to this guy. If he really doesn't want to talk to me that bad, I got to talk. Maybe I can, win him over with some kindness.
Well, how about next time you see him, just hand him a print-off of the current ratings?
Well, not to be a dick, but I kind of think that's what it was about. I think that was a big part of it.
If you have a piece of paper big enough to where it can carry itself all the way down to where he is rated, hand him that. See, we'd be up at the top of the page. You could hand him a... He'd have to go way down to the bottom.
I kind of think
that could be your big-time move.
Do we have big enough stapler to get all the way through those pages?
I got a copy of the ratings. Just say that to him. Here you go.
Yeah, again,
here you go.
Not to be a douche, but I kind of think that had a lot to do with it. I don't know why that had to happen, but...
So another company Christmas party is come and gone. I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, like I said, I knew you were busy. I didn't text you about that, but it was fun. I got to hang out with some lookalikes of these guys over in the other studio.
I wish I was there now.
Yeah, you should have been there.
Yeah.
Sounds like it was fun.
You guys, nobody else saw anything, crazy?
No, it was pretty tame.
No, it was,
No.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really tame.
Oh, I guess the only other thing was there was a couple there where the dude's like, I'm going to get drunk tonight. I got my sober cab right here. And I saw that sober cab have 4 drinks. And I thought, you're going to need a new sober cab.
Really? Man. Well, there you go.
Oh, there was this guy that told me and Jeremy and Wapple and his girlfriend
the
the
hell's
same
Jeremy?
joke. Oh, sorry, my boyfriend told us
told-
the same joke 5 times. That was pretty cool.
Okay, I like that bit.
Yes.
Do you remember the joke?
Oh, I do. I
Yeah,
totally
Waffle's
remember
got
it. We kept saying it all weekend. So I was on a Teams meeting the other day, and I was talking, and I told the joke, and I wasn't even remotely funny.
Oh, I got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Why did he have to dump it on you 5 times?
I think every time he told the joke, he thought it was the first time he was telling us. A little tuned up.
One of those.
He had his hat turned to the side, completely to the side.
Wait, say that again? What did he say to you?
I was on a Teams meeting the other day, and I told a joke. Turns out I wasn't even remotely funny.
He had to tell you that?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it's Mr. Comedy that told you that too, right? Funniest guy in the building?
Oh, yeah.
What a douchebag.
Oh, yeah.
I want to clear something up. People are texting in and they're saying, they were assuming it's Steve Gorman from KQ's Morning Show. Not at all. That guy could not be nicer.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. I want to make sure nobody thinks that's who it was.
Okay, I personally don't like the guy. You guys seem to think that I don't care for him specifically.
No, it was not him.
That's who I was picturing.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
Eventually it will be.
Maybe someday, but right now he's a good dude.
Every workplace has its characters. I kind of miss the days when there was some real dangerous nutcases in the building. I kind of miss those days. As scary as it was always interesting. Was it not, Josh?
It was, and we talked about that with some of the people there, some that have been there for a while. Like, oh, remember when this happened, and this happened. And we had talked about, I forget the exact story, but we were discussing who'd be most likely to have sex at the bar in our company Christmas party, right? And
this was a conversation you had this past Friday night.
Well, we had talked about it on the air. Do you remember that last week?
Yeah, okay, yes, I do.
And we both said, yeah, I could predict the guy, I could predict the girl.
Okay.
Not that they'd have sex together, but I could tell that, they are the most likely to have sex at the bar at the Christmas party.
Right.
And so a few people brought that up. We were talking about the old times, and one in particular was like, hey, out of curiosity, who were you picturing? And it was one of them.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, so-and-so.
Someone you don't remember.
Yeah, you're not sure who that. I don't know if you've ever met this particular person. Yeah,
I miss some of those dangerous, shady characters. I do, just because you never knew what the hell was going to happen.
There's only been one firing from a Christmas party, right?
Yeah,
at least that I know
about
of.
him. Didn't we talk about him a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, we talked about him.
Every workplace has its characters, folks that are a little shady, even scary, sometimes criminally dangerous. I was just reading something along those lines. Where did I have that now? about, like that one coworker that you'll always remember. Here it is. I think this is it, now that we've brought it up. Someone who you worked with that usually came and went quickly. Usually, not all the time. Sometimes the nutcases can have some staying power, can they not, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
And they come and go and then leave again and then come back.
Well, I'd still recommend waiting them out. Usually the douchebags, either they, by their own, they do it to themselves, or eventually they just, they'll leave.
Good call, because that's worked for us a few times over the last 25-some years. Wait them out. Someone you worked with, like I said, usually they come and go quickly. They were strange. They did something strange and got fired, or not. This kind of stuff can be fun to talk about. Our wonderful, glorious listening audience, text us, and if you can, tell us about that coworker, the one that stands out from your memory. The one you still talk about because they were just that effed up. This could be something we could throw into the mix this morning. Who was that one coworker? Could have been last week, could have been 25 years ago.
Dumbass Welder Jesus has one already.
He does? I love it.
He works with a guy that either has it better or worse than everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I think every company has that guy.
That reminds me of that Gorman prick from down the hall.
Again, Gorman's a great guy.
He is not a great guy.
It was not him, and I can't imagine that would be him.
You guys all fall for these sumbitches. Oh, he's a good guy. He's not a good guy.
Going back to the advice about just wait him out, for me, that eliminates any frustration. Meaning I'm not going to be pissed at this person, however they treat you or however they act or whatever they get away with, because I know they'll be gone soon enough.
Yeah.
Soon enough, they're going to be gone.
Man, I mean, I'm just sitting here trying to come up with, I requested our listening audience, tell us about that one guy, that one, could be a girl, that one coworker. And that might be tough because I'm trying to pinpoint one where 5 or 6 of them are going through my noggin right now. The one that stands out above all others for the shadiest, the creepiest, the oddest. I mean, it's tough. So maybe you have to tell us about more than one if you're going to text us. And again, that number is 651-989-9393. Maybe you got to tell us about more than one because I can't pinpoint just one.
Sewer lining, Jesus.
There have been so many friggin' nut jobs.
There's been a lot.
Yeah, so.
And then just when you're like, well, it's got to be, oh, no, I forgot about this person.
Forget about the other person.
Sewer lining, Jesus says, I can't think of anyone, so I'm probably that guy.
Could be.
Oh,
Yeah, if you can't spot the sucker at the table, you are the sucker.
I mean, there was the guy who was doing sleazy things online with naked pictures.
Boy, that might be right there at the top of the crop.
There was the guy who smoking crack rocks and
Oh, no.
There's the 2 dudes that I caught masturbating here, and they didn't even come to mind because there's been more nutcases around here.
That's not good.
Yeah, masturbation is so tame.
Although we've mentioned this before, but our boss told a story about a radio station he used to work with where somebody did the same thing. They masturbated in the studio. Now we don't have cameras.
No.
Unfortunately, they did, and they would live stream some of their shows. He didn't realize this was live streamed, so not only was he going for it while masturbating, but he also took his shirt off and he was playing with his nipples.
Love it.
And I guess it made the local news because this thing was live streamed. It was pornography, right?
Playing with his nipples.
I wonder how he found. I wonder if people contacted the station mid-masturbation, or if it was afterwards where he gets a phone call from the boss. Hey, anything interesting happened at work today?
Just an email to the station. This guy's really wailing away at himself.
Did I play with my nipples? Oh, no.
Dude.
I think I played with them.
I mean, the guy I just mentioned who was smoking crack rocks, he was fairly harmless. He didn't hurt anybody. Didn't really bother anybody, but he was smoking crack rocks and you couldn't get him to show up on time. And that was, I'll give him credit. Crack rocks have usually done a little more damage than this guy. He hung in there all right, despite all the crack rocks and the showing up late. But I don't know. It's tough to come up with one, but hopefully you can and text us.
We had one of these too here. A Medical Device Jesus checked in. By the way, congratulations to Medical Device Jesus. He hit 3 months sober yesterday. Nice work.
Is that right?
Yeah, good job. This person, Medical Device Jesus said, I worked with a guy who stole from the cafeteria daily. He bragged about it, and then he got caught, and he said to HR, well, no one told me I couldn't do that. He said he couldn't stand that guy, and he was fired.
Oh, that old excuse.
Yeah, we had someone that did that every day. It was a big deal around here for a while.
Stealing from the cafeteria. That's funny. Well, there you go. Did you see anybody at the company Christmas party that looked like they were, going to hook up?
No.
Hooking up.
Yeah, Dana's girlfriend and Wapple.
So I was there.
I did notice a little bit of a vibe.
You didn't see any hookups?
Nothing.
No.
No, everybody's kind of there with their significant other, it seemed like.
Yeah, like I said, I was one of the last few people to leave, and that was probably at like 9:30. So it wasn't that
That's it.
crazy of a night.
Yeah, because we left about 8:30, and we were like, we put in 3.5 hours. That's pretty good. It's
good shift.
It was probably even before 9:30. So
Yeah, I think we left about
that was
9.
fine. Yeah.
20% of people cheat on their significant other at the office Christmas party.
20%.
That's
Whoa.
right, Wapple.
Yeah, that
20%.
seems high.
That's very high.
Oh, I want it to be higher. So we
Get
can
it
have
to
some more
40.
stories to tell. I want some more stories to tell.
I wonder if people knew that stat, if more folks would have shown up at a Christmas party thinking, I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
I want to be in the 20%.
You know, it says here, people tend to form intimate bonds with colleagues under workplace stress. Yes. You form an intimate bond. All that stress has got to cut loose at one point or another.
Shared experiences.
So you throw each other into the tall grass.
Wapple and I did
Common
have
foes.
Wapple and I did have a coworker that came up and very weirdly told us he loved us.
Yeah.
Remember that, Wapple?
Oh, yeah.
We were like, is he like leaving the company or something? It was almost like it was a goodbye.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to tell you guys how much I love you both. You're so great and wonderful, and I love you guys. We're like, thanks, dude.
And then I
Is
was
this
like,
a way to brag about yourselves?
And then I was like, are you leaving right now? He's like, no, I just wanted to tell you guys that before I did leave.
All right.
Whoa. All right.
Have you checked on this person?
You know the guy
Yeah.
very well, or
Yeah, we all do.
we all know the guy very well?
Are you
Well,
sure he didn't think you
We
were me
were
and
getting
Nick?
fired, so
Maybe he did think I was Nick.
Well, maybe he's dying or something. Who knows? Hell of a deal. Of course, booze plays a big role in office hookups.
I didn't see anybody drunk. And I saw some
Man.
people that were pretty close.
Things have changed, have they not, Josh?
Yeah, well, back in the day, people would have shown up drunk. They pregame a little bit.
I think if it would have started later, there would have been a lot more drunk people and more debauchery.
Maybe that's why they chose that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah, the
thinking.
Yeah, it's a
five
good
o'clock
call.
start time is probably a strategic move on their part.
Most hookups at company holiday parties are ones that have been brewing for a while, sure. You work together day after day. You check each other out a little bit. There's that workplace stress. And you see them more than you do your significant other if you're working a lot of hours. And all of a sudden you notice, they got kind of a nice ass. She's got pretty eyes. She's got a nice this, that. And then next thing you know, some do it for the rush, the excitement of getting caught, the risks that you're taking. Ooh, Cubby, I like the risks.
Not me. I
What?
am risk adverse.
You are not.
that sounds like the worst part to me. And then the guilt. No, thank you.
Some like the attention. There's all different reasons why folks fire up a side piece at the company Christmas party. Around here, sounds like we've finally learned how to behave ourselves. But for many years, that was not the case. And as I said earlier, when discussing some of the crazy coworkers we've had here, really dangerous, odd people. As I said earlier, I kind of miss them. kind of miss them. Because a little bit of that danger was fun.
I wonder, back in the day, they used to talk about these desert island lists at work, right? Who would be your top 5 if you're on a desert island?
Sure.
Or co-workers you simply would want to have a physical relationship. That was a conversation topic back in the day.
Yeah, we used to openly talk about things like that.
Yeah.
Now, you don't want to have those conversations anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you can anymore.
No, you shouldn't do that.
But I'm probably too old to have that conversation anyway. But is there anybody here? We can have this conversation right now.
On a radio show? Yeah, you can have that conversation.
Is there any, if you think of somebody in the building, is there anybody you want to hook up with? I can't think of anybody outside of Derek.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anybody.
No.
It's different, though. I mean, back in the day, people worked here. I mean, there was a massive staff between the 3 radio stations.
Even though there's only 8 or 9 people left in the building, I can think of a couple.
Can you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody that
want to know why?
Why?
I'm a whore.
Yeah, you are kind of a whore.
Yeah.
You've always been a whore.
I've always been a whore.
Is it something where, you're genuinely attracted to them, or just, I'll hit that?
Yeah, that matters.
I'd say it's more the latter.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
I didn't think there's anybody here you'd be pining for. And no disrespect to the people that work here.
It's the unknown, Josh.
Yeah.
The unknown. The lure of the unknown. That's what it is. Plus I think they're crazy hot.
I also want to thank a couple of listeners who I was fortunate enough to talk a little bit with on the way out at the Christmas party. There's a couple of dudes. Yeah, really nice guys. I wish I would have more time to talk to them. We had to get home. But
Did someone invite them, or did you just happen to?
Well, half the bar was open to the public,
Right.
And
just go ahead. I got to hear this. So there was a couple of listeners that said hello.
Yeah, and I couldn't, we did our best to have a conversation. Like I said, it was so friggin' loud in there. You couldn't hear anything, but they were really cool dudes.
That's cool.
Yeah. One of them, I'm going to guess, was a 0.3.
Ooh.
But they were, like I said, I had a lot of fun talking to those guys. So if you're listening, thank you for saying hi.
I was chuckling because, we were just having this conversation about oddball, dangerous, lunatic, bastard scumbags that used to work in this building and how it brought about a good amount of fun, but also a decent amount of fear. There was someone who used to work here, I'm sure you remember this, Josh, years ago, who was going to their bar gigs and inviting strangers to our Christmas party. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So weird. Don't do that.
No, that was just, what are you doing? So at the Christmas party, all these listeners are like, can I meet Pablo? And who are you? What are you doing here? Oh, well, the afternoon DJ invited me to the Christmas. You can't come into the Christmas party. That was one of my favorites.
So good.
He's a guy's getting on the mic at bar gigs going, well, if no one's doing anything this Friday, we're going to be over at Bunny's in St. Louis Park for a what the hell?
Why?
Because the guy was nuts. And Pablo's trying to have some mozzarella sticks and some derelict is staring at him from across the room. Who's this guy? You had to be there.
They did have a nice spread.
Oh.
Do you like pizza? They had it. Do you like a taco bar? They got that. There was something else, too.
Sliders, wings?
Yeah, they just, I guess they didn't say no to anything. Mm-hmm. What do you want for food? We'll take everything.
Here's the deal. We're back for another work week. It's Monday morning. It's Toys for Tatas week. We got a couple of visitors this morning, our regular Monday cats, Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. And got stupid news coming up, so we got plenty to do. We will take a break, and we'll be back before you know it on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating. I'm proud to work for a company that understands and takes care of our fellow Minnesotans. Our weather here can be a little unpredictable and even extreme. That's why we've been here for 93 years and counting, to keep our community safe and comfortable.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
Stacking Benjamins with Joe and his good friend OG not only has great financial insight, it's laid back with humor too.
Joe talks with Stacking Deeds co-host Crystal Hammond.
I've always been a fan of nosy neighbors. I want nosy neighbors. They can tell you what's going on 10 times faster than you would know.
Again, what's she talking about, Doug?
Really?
We're repairing neighborhoods, but then we're into nosy neighbors, and I built a career off of that.
Find out more by searching the Stacking Benjamins podcast, wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, my God. Here we go with the stupid news. Hopefully you're as pumped about it as I am. You know, for a lot of us, a trip to the dentist office is a scary effing thing. Hell, I'm going to see my dentist tomorrow, Josh. They got me signed up for 2 straight hours.
Oh, boy.
Of oral penetration.
They really want to spend some time with you.
Tomorrow afternoon, yeah.
Along those lines of that word you chose, a couple weeks ago, I had a dental appointment, a cleaning, and I kind of cheated on my wife. It was a very top-heavy hygienist, and I inadvertently had to motorboat her the whole time.
Oh,
there was nothing she could do about it.
Right, they're so heavy.
They're just all over me.
What a nightmare that must have been for you.
Oh, I'll be going back this week. Unnecessary.
Yeah.
I've got a cleaning scheduled once a month.
Every once in a while, if you want me to, I can just kind of pop you in the yap, just a jab, just to loosen one of them up, so you have to go back and see that lady.
But I did have to tell my wife I didn't mean to, but I got to second base with my hygienist over and over and over again.
Good for you.
Yeah, I got to go tomorrow for a couple hours. And I sure hope that the dentist over there is really who he says he is. Some poor bastard in Turkey had 4 of his teeth pried out of his mouth hole by a derelict maniac who claimed he was a dentist, but he was really just the janitor at the dentist's office.
It's a little bit of a difference.
This is a hell of a deal. Hell of a story. I'll run it down for you. 42-year-old fella named Hakan. He's walking around town with a bitch of a toothache. So he finally gave in and called the dentist's office to make an emergency appointment. His call was answered by a dude named Seamal. And Seamal introduced himself on the telephone as a dentist. And he told Hakan to come by the clinic that night so they can take care of the problem. Hakan must have thought, boy, what luck that he's got an opening to see. So he walks into the dentist's office that night. Seamal's there. And Seamal even starts bragging about what a hotshot he was. He was talking about how he gives lectures at a dental college. He more or less said, don't worry, you're in good hands. He briefly examined Hakan's Turkish yapper. And Seamal told him that 4 of his front teeth had to be elbowed out of there. He's going to have to pull them out. Now, you'll dig this. Hakan was a little surprised to hear that 4 of his teeth had to come out. So he said, are you sure about that? And Seamal was visibly irritated by being questioned and said, you trying to tell me how to do my job?
Jeez, okay.
Sounds like somebody needed to tell him how to do his job.
And Hakan, of course, no, you're the boss. I'm sorry, I mean, he had just heard Seamal brag about lecturing at a dental college, so he said, I'm sorry. No, I'm not questioning your authority. So then Seamal anesthetized this poor Hakan. And he went ahead and hauled out 4 of his front teeth. He insisted that it was necessary. He told Hakan that they would be replaced by some pretty-looking falsies. Hakan paid the guy and then went on over to the neighborhood pharmacy with a prescription signed by Seamal. Prescription for God knows what. The next day, Hakan was in a hell of a lot of pain. Oh, I mean a hell of a lot of pain. So he cruises on back to the dental clinic that he was at the day before. That's when he found out that he was a victim of a sick-ass criminal act. He walked in the joint. Hakan talked to a dentist by the name of Ibrahim. And when Hakan told him that he'd been operated on by Dr. Seamal, Ibrahim was wildly confused. Ibrahim said, well, I know a guy named Seymour. He's the janitor. He cleans the building in the evenings. And Hakam said, you gotta be effing me sideways. Hakan eventually ended up in the emergency room because the pain was so over-the-top brutal. His face had ballooned up to the size of your mother's ass. And he brought this nightmare to Turkish court. And he was looking for some big bucks, and who could blame him? Christ, he walked into the joint with a toothache, and he walked out looking like Jack O'Callahan at the Miracle on Ice. For you older people. Check this out now. Seymour, the deranged wannabe dentist, he's going to prison, Cubby. 2.5 years.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's outrageous.
What possesses somebody to do that?
I don't know. He also has to pay Hakan a pile of money.
You know, if you, if you're just going to say, maybe he was joking around, oh, yeah, I'm a dentist, and the dude takes him up on it. He's like, holy cow, he's coming in here. Maybe you just do a cleaning for a couple of bucks, but pull the guy's teeth out? What the heck?
I bet the guy can trade some dental work for some smokes in the clinker.
There's a possibility of that. And, obviously this Seymour guy must have been paying oddly close attention to what the real dentists do day to day, or night by night, seeing how he was the nighttime janitor, I guess, because he knew how to anesthetize somebody? What the hell?
I wouldn't even know where to start.
If he put him out, you could kill somebody.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a effing clue how to do that to somebody. All right, so there you go. Poor bastard. So this guy tomorrow that I'm going to see, he and I are going to be nuts to butts for 2 hours. You better know what he's doing.
Check his credentials.
I don't want anybody ruin these pretty teeth.
If you see him mopping the entryway on your way in, check his credentials.
Yeah. I got to go 2 hours tomorrow and 2 hours next week. But then they say I'm all caught up to speed.
What have they haven't done? You got cavities and whatnot?
No. I got one of my teeth that's cracked in half and this and that.
They're going to cap it?
I don't know what they're going to do. I'm just going to lay there with those funny sunglasses on and hopefully fall asleep. I don't know. But, I neglected the dentist for, 20 years. So the fact that I just got to go 2 hours tomorrow and 2 hours next week, and then I'm all caught up with the rest of you schmucks, I feel pretty good about that. After skipping the dentist for decades.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They could have just kept you there for a while.
Yeah.
Speaking of those, you know my thing with sunglasses.
You look so cool in them.
Yeah. I look stupid. I got a dumb face. But the ones that at the last cleaning, that they're even more ridiculous than most of them. They had the world's stupidest sunglasses, and I think it was
They're
a
always
bit
bad.
I think it was a bit amongst the folks that worked there to make us look like fools, even more so than normal.
If you went to your dentist and they said, this cleaning or procedure is going to cost X amount, but we could also give you a discount and have the janitor do it, would you take the janitor at a discount?
If he knows what he's doing, why not?
One time, Josh made a move on his wife one night, and he said, let's get it on. And she said, no, I'm going to the gynecologist. How do you say it?
Gynecologist?
Josh's wife said, I'm going to the gynecologist tomorrow, and I want to be fresh. And Josh said, are you going to the dentist? Tomorrow? All right. There's all different types of scams going around. Honesty is a thing of the past. Shortcuts and scams are the new way to go. A worker in the city of Baltimore, Maryland's Public Works Department created a fake job offer to try to get a raise at their current job. Are you following that?
Yeah, I wonder how often that happens and then how often that works.
Well, I got that same scam cooking here at the radio station. I told the boss he better pay us all the money because we got a big offer coming in from a station in Los Angeles called K-Dirt. Hit pay dirt with K-Dirt. That's their slogan over there. One of their top DJs, Johnny Crunch, he died on air, so they're looking to sign up a big morning show. Just roll with it if the boss says anything.
All right, sounds good.
Hit Pay Dirt with K-Dirt.
I haven't seen that, but I believe that's Ford Fairlane.
It's part of a documentary called The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Fine, Josh, you busted me. Johnny Crunch's real name is Johnny Teitelbaum. Anyway, as I said, a worker in the city of Baltimore, Maryland's Public Works Department created a fake job offer to try and get a raise at their current job. And it was working. The Public Works Department there in Baltimore was interested in matching the offer to keep the employee. They liked this guy. And it was a pretty nice salary, too. I think around $100,000 ski.
Holy hell.
But then the Baltimore department contacted the other government agency about the offer. That agency told Baltimore that they had no idea what they were talking about. So the scam was crushed. The dude who was trying to pull this nonsense got fired. Well, now what the hell you gonna do, bruh? You lying bastard.
Oh, I know what you do.
What do you do
it's
now?
It's the same thing when douchebags get fired, what they always say, yeah, I was making too much money. That's what it was, making just a little too much money.
I love that bit. It's one of my favorite all-time bits.
Yeah.
We've dealt with that. We've experienced that here over the years. Someone will get let go, and then we'll talk to someone who ran into that fired employee, on the street, and they'll say, hey, what happened? You're no longer at the radio station. And we've been told that they've said, yeah, simple case of where I was making too much money.
That's so douchey.
Somebody had to go, and it was me, because of all the money that I was making.
In most of those cases, whatever they were getting paid was too much money.
It was. It wasn't quite as much as they are trying to lead people to believe. But anyway, as you know, Josh, I do have a certain level of appreciation for a good scam.
Yeah, and as far as scams go, I mean, there's certainly worse.
I did work with somebody that went to the boss and said, hey, I got this offer, this opportunity. It's more money. It's at a different place. And the boss completely called their bluff on it. All right, cool. Go ahead, take it.
Oh, yeah. Heard that here, too.
And they're like, well, don't you want to, try to match? Or do you want to hear what they're like? No, it sounds like a good opportunity. Go ahead and take it. And they're like,
It's probably... It's similar to people beefing up their resumes, right? Or their LinkedIn page or something like that.
I don't fill out my own resume, Josh. I make too much damn money around here for something like that. I have someone filling out my resumes for me.
There's a old boss that worked here, loved the guy, recently left, and he had mentioned there was an employee who was kind of like that, Dana, just inflated sense of worth, and came in and said, all right, here's my contract demands, non-negotiable.
I love this. This is one of my favorite stories of all time.
Mine too.
And this guy's a douchebag. It's like, point for point. And some of them were ridiculous, right? These demands. And non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. Don't even start, It's non-negotiable.
And so the boss looked it over thoroughly and was like, yeah, we're not doing any of these things. And just like you said, Dana, with your guy, he's like, well, wait, maybe on a couple of them we could go back. He's like, no, we're not doing any of them. And the guy's like, well, I got to think about it. And he's like, you got till the end of the day.
Yeah. Give me the weekend to think about it. No. And you have 30 minutes.
That's it. I wish everyone here knew this guy because he was so awesome and it just fit who he was.
Yep.
He's like, F you, you're not going to do this to me.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The average workplace. It can be a lot of laughs. Let's see. Where am I going next? This is about as deep a political conversation we'll ever have on this program. A small town in Washington State called Rainier. They had a city council election last month. The two guys running for the seat were called Damian Green and Ryan Roth. They had to do a recount after Ryan won by a single vote. He won 247 votes to 246. So if you're wondering why this is a story, Damian could have won, but he didn't vote for himself. He told a reporter it felt too narcissistic.
That's adorable.
No.
Now that's interesting.
It is interesting. I hope he's telling the truth on this. I watched an interview with him, and he did kind of he carried himself like, son of a bitch.
Should have hung out, man.
They do say every vote counts. And I guess in this case, it certainly did.
That's very interesting to me. A politician who isn't a completely self-obsessed narcissist.
He seemed like kind of a regular good dude.
That's news in itself. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, Josh. Didn't vote for himself, so he lost by a vote. It's not clear if he voted at all, or if he wrote someone in, or what.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I understand this next statement. Maybe you can help me out, Josh. This Ryan guy who lost by a vote, and he didn't vote for himself, I'll get this. Ryan says he also thought about not voting for himself, but his wife convinced him he should. Does that mean his wife convinced him he should not vote for himself? I don't know if I
understand.
He should vote for himself.
His wife said, go ahead and vote for yourself. He said no. Okay. He's not complaining. He has no regrets, it says here in the story. He plans to run again next time around, so not too butthurt about it. Here's a guy down there in Kentucky named Donald Nelson. And Donald is real pissed off because the inflatable Santa decoration in his front yard got killed in an apparent drive-by shooting.
Oh, no.
It's a dramatic way to take out
Me and my
some
wife were
Christmas decor.
My computer's freezing up.
Me and my wife were sitting on the couch watching TV and heard kind of like a small bang or whatever. So she asked me to take a look, and when I looked out the front door, we saw that the inflatable had fallen over. I went back and looked at our home security camera, and it actually showed a vehicle turn around in the court and a sound that sounded like a firearm, shoot it, and as soon as that noise went off, the inflatable fell down.
Nobody respects jack squat anymore. That was Donald right there. Big setup in the yard. $200 giant inflatable Chris F. me running Kringle.
Ooh, man.
$200. Yeah. When no one's looking, somebody shot Santa dead.
Dude, it's not right.
Donald took a look. Santa had a bullet hole in him, and he was dead. You heard him mention he looked at the security camera, saw what appeared to be the moment that Santa was shot by someone passing in a car. That's terrible. Friendly neighbors have taken to sewing Santa up again so he can go back to his spot in the yard. But Donald says no. He's worried that, the same garbage pile dickheads that shot Santa to death in the first place might come back and do it again. And maybe this time one of those bullets hits him or the wife.
It was sad watching Santa perish. Just kind of falls backwards slowly to his death.
Oh, poor Santa.
Nice work ruining Christmas for these people, you effing puke bags.
I'm lucky we haven't had something like that happen. Do worry about that. Somebody's just going to come by and be a dick for no reason.
That would bum me out so much.
Do you have
do that.
Do you have a pretty nice Christmas setup, Josh?
You got it all set up already?
Yeah, I mean, we don't do a ton outside, just lights.
Oh. You know what they say, Josh, when the lights go down in the city. And the stinking sun, what the hell's the next line?
Something.
Shines on the bay. Shines on the bay, Steve Perry said. One of the latest cute moves that lowlifes like to pull off is that squatting gimmick. I get crazy when I hear some of the stories of people somehow losing their homes because of squatters.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever understand how you can have rights when you're a squatter.
It blows my mind. Like, this is my home. It has my name on it. How does that make sense?
Here's the deal. The folks who, speaking of Christmas decorations, the folks who live in a house in South Florida, a house that's known for its over-the-top Christmas lights, it's been found out that these folks have been living there illegally for almost 2 effing decades.
Jeez.
The story here says that a gal named Kathy Hyatt, who is a realtor, she and her husband Mark, who died a few years ago, have allegedly squatted in the house for the past 15 years. This is according to some documents that recently popped up. Word is, if you follow this kind of language, Word is there was never a title on the property, and it had a forged deed. That the Hyatts were known in the neighborhood for going all out with their holiday decorations, covering the house with thousands of colored lights and the whole works.
It was awesome. They really did a good job. Well, they didn't have to, they could spend as much as they wanted because they didn't have a mortgage.
I guess so. And they were known in town for this, and actually kind of notorious, really. The over-the-top Christmas lights pissed off some of the neighbors. It was too much for some people. But anyway, I don't have the smarts to understand all the details involved when it comes to squatting laws and this and that. And there aren't many specifics here in the story on how this Hyatt couple made this scam work. But they recently found out that they've been living there for nearly 20 years and they don't own Jack-Ola. Most of the squatting stories, you guys tell me, if you've had similar experiences, most of the squatting stories that I've heard had to do with, criminal scumbag meth heads and such moving into somebody's house and then having the balls to make a third grade level, finders keepers type of a stance.
Yeah.
Those are the stories that I hear. I don't know. So it's odd to read that allegedly these folks, they sound like relatively normal people. One of them's got, the old man's dead, but the wife had a job as a realtor. Maybe because of her experience in realtory, she knew the how do you call it, Josh? The inside moves and the fine
good
print.
Scams, all the best scams.
F me.
I feel like my realtor let me down. Why am I paying? Taxes are outrageous. I don't want to pay taxes.
You shouldn't have to.
Friggin' squatters. I don't get it. Reminds me of the friggin' Manson family is what it reminds me of every time. Because you probably know the old story of Dennis Wilson, the drummer for the Beach Boys in the mid-'60s. He befriended Charles Manson and the Manson family, and they'd all come over to Dennis's, Hollywood Hills mansion, and they'd have, mid-'60s space-out parties and smoke grass and everyone's naked. That whole thing that happened in the 60s. And then one day, Dennis came home, and the Manson family kind of said, yeah, it's our place now. And he said, but remember me, I'm Dennis with the Beach Boys. I wish you all could be. And they're like, no, it was cute what you did there with the Beach Boys, but it's our house now. All right, before we get the hell out of here, I've only officially watched one episode of Seinfeld in my lifetime, so I'm not tuned into this gimmick, but those of you who are fans of that program, you'll likely dig this here. A Florida newspaper is inviting their readers to submit their grievances for the year and will print the funniest complaints in celebration of Festivus, a fictional holiday from the sitcom Seinfeld.
Hey! Happy Festivus, everyone!
Welcome, newcomers. The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
Jerry Stiller sure was funny.
He's great.
He sure was funny.
Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, but so did another man. As I rained blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way. What happened to the doll? It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us. That must have been some kind of doll. She was.
Keep an eye on the Tampa Bay Times. They're the ones going ahead with this bit. The 8th annual Tampa Bay Times airing of grievances. Anyone around the world who wishes to voice their complaints on any subject can dial into the Tampa Bay Times. Oh, do me a favor. If you guys follow this deal and you see any political comments, save them for me. I'm going to want to read through those. I love that stuff. The airing of grievances is a big part of Festivus, they say here, which falls on December 23rd. The holiday also features the display of an unadorned metal pole and feats of strength. Can you explain any of that to me?
I don't even know how to.
26 years ago on the show Seinfeld, you heard the audio right there. The character Frank Costanza, played by Jerry Stiller, explained the traditions of Festivus, which is an anti-consumerism holiday. Okay, I got it. From hearing the audio about the doll, I think I'm starting to follow this. The newspaper Tampa Bay Times offered up some example gripes from previous years. And this is one that grabbed me. Maybe you guys found some others that were cute, but this is the one that grabbed me. An example of grievances from past years. A lady wrote, "When my 12-year-old son calls me bro." That's one of her grievances.
I liked that one,
When
too.
my 12-year-old son calls me bro, she says, "Last I checked, I'm still your mom. I'm not your bro." So there you go.
It's a card from my dad.
Dear son, happy Festivus? What is Festivus?
It's nothing. It's nothing.
When George was growing
Jerry,
up,
no.
his father hated all the commercial and religious aspects of Christmas, so he made up his own holiday.
All right.
And instead of a tree, didn't your father put up an aluminum pole?
Jerry, stop it.
And then weren't there feats of strength that always ended up with you crying?
I'm going to work. You happy now?
Oh, my God. He upset George. You looking forward to Festivus, Josh?
I like to celebrate. I'll definitely be looking forward to reading some of these.
Well, it's only 19 days away if my arithmetic is correct.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
It was really through amount of time spent in and around the Lakers and the Laker organization, traveling on the road, on the team plane. Riley, at one point banned me from staying in the same hotel because it was the 80s and I was single. I was a very bad influence on the Lakers. But Lakers loved me. Riley, not so much. And it was during the format where it was like 2-3-2. So you'd be in Detroit forever. 3 games in Detroit. There's not a lot to do out by the Pontiac Silverdome. So, you can do the math. Riley was not a fan of that.
Any Rob Lowe fans here?
Yeah.
I do enjoy Rob
I
Lowe.
like him a lot.
He was such a bad boy back in the 80s. Pat Riley, back when he was coaching the Lakers during the Showtime era, Pat Riley once banned Rob Lowe from hanging out with the team.
That's awesome.
Makes sense. It was a heartthrob.
Rob said, especially Magic Johnson. Riley wanted him nowhere near him. You stay away, Rob.
I mean, can you imagine the damage that Rob Lowe and Magic Johnson could do in any bar in America
double
between
trouble.
Pack a lunch.
1985 and 90? That Rob Lowe seems like a very pleasant, funny, fun person.
Oh, definitely.
But there was a time when it looked like it was all over for him, wasn't there, Josh?
Sure did. Talk about a comeback story.
Oh, really?
You didn't know the Rob Lowe story?
No.
Oh, back in the 80s when I was in high school, I mean, he had to have been the very first video sex scandal celebrity.
That's the first one I can think of. I mean, I was pretty young when it happened, but it's the first one that was just blew up.
And I don't remember the specifics, but there was video of Rob Lowe in a hotel with a girl or two, and they may not have been of age.
That's how I remember it.
Yes.
Oh.
So Rob was probably at the time, I don't know, 21, 22. And as far as I can remember, this was the first celebrity to ever get in any kind of a heat, to get in any kind of heat over a sex video.
It seemed like he was done. That was the end of Rob Lowe. And, and he was for a while.
You're right. Try and help me, but I seem to think that Tommy Boy was kind of his comeback.
He was great in that.
Right?
Or was it, which came out first, Tommy Boy or Austin Powers?
Oh, Austin Powers, same time period,
Yeah,
roughly.
right around the same time
Mid to
period.
late 90s. So there was a stretch of
He was
time.
awesome in that.
Nobody would touch Rob Lowe, and I'm not trying to be cute with that. There was a time period where he was too hot to handle because of that underage girl thing. But I'll tell you this, Ashley. I was a junior in high school. I remember it very well because there were a lot of girls at my high school who had Rob Lowe posters in their friggin' locker. And when that story broke, I vividly remember walking down the hallways and these girls are crying their eyes out.
Oh, no.
Crying there. They were so in love with him. There's that scene from The Outsiders where you can sort of see his penis.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I know girls that spent all weekend long freeze framing their VCR on Rob Lowe's half penis in the Outsiders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd rent the movie and just, there it is. Half of his, we can see his pubes. Women were crazy. Girls, high school girls, were crazy about Rob Lowe in the 80s.
Tommy Boy came out in 95. Austin Powers was 97.
There you go. All right, again, the Pigs are suddenly the 1988 Edmonton Oilers after signing up this John Hines dude to coach the club. They beat Chicago 4-1 yesterday. Golden Gopher basketball, a tough loss at Ohio State. There are plenty of things we're going to cover with Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder in about a half hour. We know who and where the Golden Gopher football team will be playing in a bowl game come a couple weeks from now. We know what the college football Final Four setup looks like. We know who the Twins' new television play-by-play man will be. Stay tuned for today's news report from Cubby coming up next.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating. I'm proud to work for a company that understands and takes care of our fellow Minnesotans. Our weather here can be a little unpredictable and even extreme. That's why we've been here for 93 years and counting, to keep our community safe and comfortable.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
Welcome to Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. Title Crisis aired March 3rd, 2004. Director Kenneth Biller. He was a weird guy. He was talented, and I liked him, but he was a weird fella.
The production loved him. The cast, Ken, if you're out there, I'm sure we'd get along.
A lot of these people, I don't want to call them pawns, but in a TV production, even directors are a lot of times pawns.
Jump in now or catch up on any of the past seasons of Talkville on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
I've never heard of anything like that. He really wasn't too cooperative with us, so we don't exactly know why he decided to take this route.
What apparently started as a bad work day is now compounded by several criminal charges with the possibility of substantial jail time for a man who quit his job right in the middle of it. Typically, the law doesn't get involved if you quit your job. But when your job is transporting a cargo van full of prison inmates, they tend to take notice. 21-year-old Joshua Pinquette was arrested after he drove a van full of prison inmates off course and refused to stop while traveling in North Carolina, police said. The incident occurred Tuesday around 9 a.m. Deputies received a call to be on the lookout for an inmate transport van headed along the interstate. The caller was the owner of the inmate transport company and reported the driver was off course and refusing to return the van. The owner of the company became aware of the unanticipated detour because another employee was traveling along with the 21-year-old and 4 inmates and called in concerned. The second employee texted the owner about the issue with their coworker. They said they stopped the van, detained both employees, and the inmates were secured. The 21-year-old was arrested and charged with a count of kidnapping for each inmate and the other employees.
No. God.
According to the sheriff's office, the inmates were en route to Florida and turned over to other employees for the company.
Count after count of kidnapping?
Yeah, 5 counts of
every
kidnapping.
swinging D that was in that van.
Rough.
You're done, dude. That's it.
Yeah, they're saying he could be in jail for a very, very, very long time.
It's not one of those jobs you can kind of quit in the middle of.
I didn't
Not
know
that
they
way,
were-
at least.
Yeah, not like that. I didn't know they had private companies that did that. I just assumed it was jail staff.
Yeah,
Moved
I
from
learned
place to
that
place.
recently. Yeah, that there's private companies and some of them get a little sideways. That's a hell of a story there, Cubby.
A Southwest Airlines passenger in New Orleans was taken into custody last month after allegedly jumping from a plane's emergency exit hatch before hopping over its wing for a short walk.
He put something on the plane and jumped off the plane. Wait, what? Someone jumped off?
The 38-year-old was detained by Southwest ground personnel on the tarmac until police arrived.
Oh, they did? He did? There he is. There he is. He's taking the... Oh, my God. There he is. They got him. Thank God.
Sheriff's officials, who said the plane wasn't moving at the time of the man's hasty departure, said he was incoherent and appeared not fully aware of his surroundings when authorities stopped him. Then on a Korean Airlines flight last week, a 26-year-old meth-addled female passenger tried to open the emergency door as the flight soared over the Pacific Ocean. It's the third instance of a passenger trying to open emergency doors on Korean flights this year, including a drugged-up 19-year-old who was sentenced to 3 years in prison. And in related news, a flight attendant was arrested in Japan after biting a security guard when she was confronted for shoplifting. The 33-year-old Singapore Airlines flight attendant was arrested after allegedly stealing 6 items. When a 51-year-old security guard tried to prevent her from leaving the shop, she responded by biting him on the arm. She also said she was mad that he tried to stop her.
How dare you?
Tennessee officials uncovered a massive marijuana grow operation Thursday inside a booby-trapped church, of all places. Roughly 2,000 cannabis plants in uniform rows were discovered throughout the now former house of worship, making it the biggest bust in Stewart County history.
I've been in law enforcement. This is my 41st year. That's the biggest marijuana grow operation that I personally seen.
The former Methodist church was rigged with a very sophisticated growing environment, police said, and they reported the elaborate setup cost more than $3,000 a month in electricity alone.
But this operation was set up for people, I believe, that they would come in and work the operation for a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then leave and not come back till ready. And I can't believe this is the only operation they've got set up.
It was also designed to keep out intruders and police through a series of booby traps.
You don't know if they booby trapped the doors. You don't know if they booby trapped plants. You don't know if they booby trapped equipment. And that's always in the back of our mind, because something that's sophisticated, you just don't know.
Officials descended on the former church after a 3-week investigation was launched when neighbors complained of a skunk-like stench.
It was very sophisticated. Watering system, light system, everything's on timer. Air conditioning can be controlled by Wi-Fi. We had been working on it for a few weeks. We'd had some tips and some complaints.
Tennessee is amongst a shrinking group of states who have yet to legalize marijuana.
Wow, they had a really nice setup there.
Yeah, they did. They went all out.
The old school booby trap. When we were kids, we had a fort, and we would booby trap it so those who didn't know, those who we thought were not welcome couldn't get in.
What kind of booby traps?
We had a pit dug.
Sweet.
So if you were in on this club, if you were part of the club, you knew to take a wide route to enter the fort. If you took a straight route, we dug a pit that you would fall into.
Oh my gosh.
I think my buddy's dad twisted his ankle and he was just furious. He came to check on us and he fell into the pit. Just idiotic stuff.
I always thought those were cool in movies, all the booby traps and stuff.
Yeah, did your pit have sticks with it and feces on top of the sticks?
Sticks and feces?
Feces?
Where are we going with this?
That's what they did back in the day. They would dig a pit and you would use sticks, and they would make spikes, and then they would put feces, so then you would get infected.
Give you a poop foot.
Awful.
You know what, Wapple? Take a weekend away from the show Vikings, will you please? It's turning you into a crazy, violent person with odd ideas.
I know way too much about this stuff with history.
You gave a coworker the blood eagle the other day, Wapple. You got to ease it back.
Yeah.
We did nothing with sticks or Vikings or whatever you said. Sticks and feces. No, we did none of that. We would sit in the fort and we would sift through porno mags, waiting to hear someone fall into the pit, and it was a lot of fun.
Then in Battle Creek, Michigan, if you thought maybe you overdid it this Thanksgiving, you haven't heard this story. Someone hosted a Thanksgiving gathering where everyone overdosed on drugs.
Oh, no.
At least 10 people found unresponsive, but thankfully emergency responders were able to rescue them. Officials believe they were doing cocaine, possibly laced with fentanyl. Every single person there overdosed.
Dang, just more or less a suicide pact right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it could have been much worse. Thankfully, they survived. According to police in Florida, a man crashed into his own home amid a dispute over whether to sell it, and he said it was the most fun he's had in a while. Douglas Stonis was booked into jail for DUI damage to property a week ago Sunday, and then a day later, last Monday, landed behind bars again, this time for aggravated assault. Deputies claim the extremely drunk 61-year-old drove his SUV into a home. Turns out that home was his home. He even drove up some stairs. He then backed out of the residence and headed down toward the street before crashing into a Cadillac. He got out of his vehicle and began yelling at bystanders, including a woman he threatened to kill. She's a co-trustee of the now damaged home. The woman wanted to sell. He did not. A witness told cops about a flare at the side of the home, apparently fired at the resident. And another witness saw the man make a 3-point turn on a bridge, making contact with the bridge every single time.
That's amazing.
While at the hospital, he said, "I smoke pot as much as I can, and I meant to do it. I did it on purpose. It was the most fun I've had in a while."
I mean, I guess I can see how that would be fun, but...
He's like, all right, if I can't have it, no one can.
This guy comes off like kind of a wild card.
Sure does.
Yeah.
A paramedic with the Detroit Police Department was placed on leave after he crashed an ambulance while drunk. The paramedic sideswiped 3 cars while driving a patient just after midnight Friday. The paramedic, who's been with the department for 6 years, was tested per department protocol and found to be under the influence of alcohol. The department said the paramedic has had no previous alcohol-related incidents.
No prior accidents, no prior discipline that has anything to do with alcohol or violating the trust of the patients that they're in charge of caring for.
Maybe just one terrible mistake there. The patient in the back of the ambulance was not injured.
Boy, I'd like to talk to that patient, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I wonder if they were, like, unconscious or awake through the whole thing.
I mean, if they were awake, they might have been thinking for a minute. I mean, hey, man, it's just an appendix. We don't have to... This is the most daring, ambulance driver of all time. He's really looking to save my life, maybe that patient was thinking.
A now former employee of a cable internet provider in New Jersey has been charged with setting fire to 2 of the company's vans. But what makes the story more newsworthy is he's also a first lieutenant with the local fire department. The 42-year-old with the badass name Randy S. McMaster,
whoa,
sounds like a DJ,
yeah,
torched the vehicles around 3:15 p.m. October 19th. An investigation conducted by the county prosecutor's office, Major Crimes Unit, and police revealed McMaster had intentionally set fire to both vehicles for an unknown reason.
Wow.
Must not have been happy at his other job.
I guess not.
A barber's accused of intentionally burning down a barber shop in Shoreview. Apparently he did so the owner would open a new shop with him in Columbia Heights.
Yeah, this is definitely a different experience.
A 55-year-old charged Friday 1 count of first-degree arson, second-degree arson as well, in connection to a fire last Wednesday. Firefighters traced the fire's origin to an area of the shop with video game setups. According to the charges, security footage shows the accused pulling a lighter out of his pocket and burning a cloth on top of a video game console before leaving. The fire grew for about 20 minutes before the sprinkler system kicked in. A deputy found the barber near the shop using his phone and said it appeared he was recording the scene or maybe video chatting with someone. During the investigation, the owner of the barber shop told authorities the man had been renting a chair for only the past 2 days. Apparently, he had to shut down his own barber shop he had in Columbia Heights before renting the chair. The owner of the Shoreview barber shop told investigators the man had been repeatedly asking him about opening a shop in Columbia Heights, but he had no intention of closing his Shoreview location and moving.
Just trying to get me to go to another shop. Nobody's going to make me leave, especially in that way.
The charges explain the owner believes the man intentionally set the fire to close the business, making it easier to agree to start the new shop in the suspect's preferred location.
So he sets it on fire.
Did they say what kind of video game console it was?
They did not. Okay. They didn't bring it up.
That just sounds straight up egregious,
It does. That is very egregious. That's one way, I guess, to get your way.
That's one way to do it. A friend of mine's dad would always say, that's one way to do it.
Officials determined 2 recent Edina kitchen fires were accidents, both caused by stove burners being on or left on. But one of them was caused by a cat. Around 6:30 p.m. November 22nd, the Edina Fire Department responded to a report of a fire in a multifamily residential building. After investigating that fire, the fire marshal determined one of the residents' cats had climbed on the stove and ignited a burner, causing items on the stove to catch fire. The residents were able to escape with their 3 cats. Then about 3 p.m. last Monday, fire crews responded to a kitchen fire which started when shopping bags left on the stovetop were ignited by a heating element that was accidentally left on. Luckily, there was minimal damage to the house. An Ocean Springs, Mississippi high school physics teacher arrested for allegedly having sex with a student said he didn't know it was that big of a crime.
Okay. He just lives under a rock. Yep.
What? It's really this? You can get in trouble for this?
He doesn't watch the news.
Did you imagine they went over that in school at some point? Like, hey, by the way, you're not going to be allowed to sleep with your students.
Maybe you mean like on training them in?
Yeah.
Maybe he was absent that day.
38-year-old James Hawkins, who's married with kids, made the statement during his initial appearance Friday before a judge, apparently not realizing it was a felony-type crime. At the hearing, the assistant district attorney said that Hawkins even made comments about leaving town with the victim, identified as one of his 17-year-old students. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department arrested Hawkins Thursday, the same day the Ocean Springs School District fired him amid the criminal allegations. The case remains under investigation and more charges could follow. And then in Missouri, a teacher's on leave after inappropriate videos were shown on a projector with students in class. Kansas City Public Schools said a Central Middle School teacher has been placed on leave after Wednesday's incident. The district didn't elaborate on the contents of the inappropriate videos.
But there were boobs involved.
Could have been.
That dude who said he didn't know the rules, right?
Yeah, he didn't know it was that big a deal.
I bet his wife is pretty pumped.
Oh, yeah, and I hope his kids are young enough for, I mean, he's 38, so hopefully they're young enough for their, now, they're probably aware. Oh, that would suck.
His wife can't wait to show up for pickleball this week, you know what I mean?
A road sign in Florida was removed after it was filmed displaying a message last week that is deemed inappropriate. Video shows the sign displaying a series of messages, which played in the following order. Next right, Hemlock closed, take detour, which is spelled incorrectly. Also, big booty Latinas.
Oh, that's what you get if you go in that direction?
Yeah, of those four, can you see the one that created the controversy? County officials responded Friday with a message explaining the board is part of a utilities project and a company called Bob's Barricades provided the boards. Bob's Barricades, for their part, said they were informed about the issue and are sending a new device. To avoid this from happening again, Bob said they will be removing the internal keyboards from the new board before it's delivered to the location.
That would be fun to see on the side of the road, man.
Actually, I'm going to go over this way.
I would find myself following that route.
Yeah, I think I'd be right there. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it'd be intriguing more than anything.
Is that true? Are there really over?
Mm-hmm.
Monday Night Football tonight.
What?
Monday Night Football?
I can't wait to hear what it is.
Oh, well, I've got the info right in front of me. It's
yes.
a matchup between the Jaguars and the Bengals.
Well, that one actually ain't so bad.
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
All right.
Marissa Tomei. Hubba. 59 today.
Boy, she had a crush on Randy the Ram there, didn't she? And then the sumbitch died.
She is one hot mama.
Yeah.
She's 59. Jeff Bridges turns 74. John, a.k.a. Live Ride Explorer Jesus, we wanted to send him our best. He's going in for surgery number 6 this morning following a bad motorcycle crash about a month ago today. So hope that goes well. Best of luck to you, buddy. And that's 93X News.
Care 11's Randy Shaver.
He's very hairy and has a great disposition. Like I said, he loves to hug and he loves to give kisses.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Prior to the receiver's leg hitting out of bounds, his butt cheek hit inbound. As a result, it's a catch.
Let him know, Hussey.
And a first down.
Let's go. If you had butt cheek on your bingo card for the NFL on Fox today, congratulations.
An NFL referee, Josh, an NFL referee said butt cheek on the microphone.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
So we're all supposed to just...
His butt cheek was in. He was right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We're going to celebrate that for a day or two. Good morning, Randy Shaver, home from vacation. Randy?
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello, and good morning to Brad Ryder, a guy that could probably use a vacation at this point, huh, Brad?
Yeah, I could.
Should have gone into television.
I know.
Or radio.
Should have been a TV anchor. I'm not good looking enough.
Should have gone into television or radio. We get piles of vacation days.
I know.
Man. We're going to use some up in a couple weeks, aren't we?
Yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Thank you,
That's
Randy.
That's what I say.
Are you talking about yourself?
Yeah.
Who else is there to refer to?
For a second there, I thought Randy was actually paying attention to someone other than himself.
Nope.
I was wrong. I was wrong. Well, welcome to the program, boys. Hope you had a great weekend. We all know there will never be another Dick Bramer. But, you know, life goes on. And we got word over the weekend, I think it was over the weekend, that Corey Provis will be the new Twins voice on television.
Yeah, I think they announced it Friday morning. And we were talking, I don't remember if it was on or off air, where we thought if Dick has to go, what a great replacement he'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you heard the news that he was leaving, you kind of hoped that at least this was the direction they were going to go.
That was a logical move for sure.
The guy does a great job.
Oh, he's great.
He does, yes.
On the radio. I even watch him call Golden Gopher basketball games. You guys never watch Golden Gopher basketball?
No, I don't.
You would be correct.
Corey Provis does a great job in whatever the hell sport he's covering.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You guys know I had my fingers crossed for the Clay Boy because we're Eskimo brothers. Local great Clay Matvick. Maybe he's got such a lucrative deal with ESPN he told the Twins to kiss his ass. I don't know. I should have texted Clayboy and said, did you send in your application? Because years ago he said that was one of his dream jobs. He would love to do that call the Twins game.
I actually talked to Clay last week. You and I, yeah, you and I both are good friends with him. He didn't really have interest, no.
Oh, really? Just because he's happy what he's doing?
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Does he still have the grotto at his house over at the Clayboy Mansion?
Right. I haven't been to his house in a while.
Well, I used to go
Clay
to
Clay and I went to Vegas one time together.
Oh, God.
We'll have to chat about that off air sometime.
Oh, we have to chat about it
Why
off
does
air.
Why does it have to be off air?
Sure. Well, I don't think the listeners care, so.
I think it's because you guys raise so much damn hell over there in Vegas.
Clay's a stud.
Yeah, how many times over are you guys Eskimo brothers, Nick?
Now that I didn't realize. I didn't realize you
times
guys were
over?
Eskimo brothers.
I mean, how many women did we share?
Mm-hmm.
Only one that I know of. Why?
Okay.
You got a scorecard over there?
No,
or something?
I was just curious, just because I've heard so many legends about the Clay Boy. So
as far as I know, only one.
Okay.
Are you comfortable sharing that story?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, because I used to go to the Clayboy Mansion when he was a single man. He's got kids now. I mean, God, it's been so many years, but we used to have so much damn fun. Me and him, we'd hang out at the Clayboy Mansion. Yeah, I guess I'm comfortable sharing this story. I don't think he cares, but he was seeing this gal years ago, and he went out of town for a hockey tournament, and
oh my God,
what?
nice friend.
What? Randy.
Nice friend.
Oh, he was fine with it. He's the Clay Boy.
You were just keeping an eye on her.
That's the best part. As I remember you coming and telling me, like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And you wanted to tell him,
I did,
but you didn't know how to tell him, and you were afraid of his reaction.
I felt really bad, and you're exactly right. I liked Clay so much, and I wanted to tell him, but I didn't know how. Well, eventually, I guess he goes and he sees this girl, and they were hanging out in a hot tub or something, and he had just got back from this trip, and he says to this gal, he says, what's going on? You seem different. And she says, oh, no, nothing's different, no.
Okay.
And he says, well, is something wrong? And she said, no, nothing's. And he said, you nailed Bourne, didn't you? And she said, yes, I'm sorry. And he in the end, he said, it was no big deal. They weren't, what's the word?
They weren't
serious. They weren't.
They were compatible.
Very compatible.
Many different ways.
Oh, God. Yeah, I thought. I finally made a friend, outside.
Yeah, look what you did.
I finally made a friend outside of this miserable radio business, and then, my slutty side kicked in, and
his main reasoning is he's got kids now, as you know, and he doesn't want that. He wouldn't want that baseball schedule, he said. So.
It'd be a hell of a deal. Yeah. So good for Corey Provis. Chris Atterbury, who I've heard the name before on the radio broadcast over there, he is going to take Provis's job as the lead radio guy.
He'll do a great job of that for sure.
38 years it's been since anyone but Dick Bramer called the Twins game on television. And, if you listen to this show, we love Dick. He's a regular visitor during the baseball season, and maybe we can continue that next season. We don't know, but we have all the respect and love in the world for Dick Bramer, just like anyone else with any common sense in this town.
We've put that out there, by the way. We've asked him. If he's available and interested, we'd love to have him back.
Sure.
Boy, I bet the list was long for folks who were applying for that gig, though.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure the Twins, though, had this whole plan in mind as to how this was going to go. So,
you're probably right, Randy Shaver. I was completely naive.
Yeah, I don't think there was an interview process at all.
I really don't think that they really had any other plans other than what is transpired. So.
Well, you guys have seemed to have the inside scoop on this from the get-go, so I'll take your word for it. Now, Corey Provis replaced John Gordon.
That's right.
12, 13 years ago when he took the radio lead.
Yeah.
John Gordon.
Yeah. And that was, people love John Gordon.
Yeah.
So that was a transition.
He was enthusiastic as hell.
He was.
That required some. Well, and when John Gordon took over his position, when John Gordon started, remember, there was a lot of conversation about John Gordon's style of
because it was so different than Herb Carneal.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
foul down the left field line.
There's always a transition that's involved in all of these kind of things. So.
Now with Corey Provis taking the television gig, at least the word is they're still planning on. Well, number one, there could be a time where there's nowhere to show the ball game.
Yeah,
we all know that.
We're still wondering what it looks like because there has not been an announcement as to how this is going to look or where you're going to find Twins baseball on TV yet. So.
But the word is they're going to stick with the rotating lineup of analysts with your Justin Morneau, your Stuart Smalley, LaTroy Hawkins, Glenn Perkins.
Right.
Who is...
Which is great. I think all of those guys do a great job.
They do. If I had to pick my favorites, though, and I'm not trying to take anything away from any of the other fellas, but I really dig it when LaTroy Hawkins or Glenn Perkins are in there. I like those.
I think it'd be fun if Stuart Smalley did a series.
Well, he's good enough. He's also smart enough, and I think people like him.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so no Vikings yesterday. They got the week off, but there were some spirited... the 49ers and Eagles don't like each other much.
Nope.
No.
Wow. I watched a little bit of that ball game yesterday, and they were just scrapping on the sideline and jaw-jacking. And
the 49ers took it to them, man.
They beat the living hell out of them.
In Philadelphia, which was impressive.
That went a little bit in reverse of what you thought after that little scuffle. You thought maybe the Eagles would take over the game, and it went just the opposite.
Right.
Now, all right. I was watching yesterday, and there was that dust up on the sideline where a member of the 49ers kind of put his hands in the face of an Eagles staffer, and we learned later that this was their head of security guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They call him Big Dom.
Big Dom.
Big Dom.
And he is
after
big.
Big Dom shoved the player.
What you doing over there, Big Dom? Look at me. Oh, Big Dom shoved the player?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Do you think it was a shove?
He pushed him away.
I think he was just trying to break the players up.
Yeah, that's how I took it. I guess I can rewatch it, but it looked to me like he was just kind of saying, "Hey, let's stay out of here."
My view is he shouldn't have been there. He should not have been in that in the first place.
But
he shouldn't have been that close to the
I
sideline.
understand you don't tell Big Dom where Big Dom can and can't go. That's what I understand over there. Big effing Dom. Okay, I don't care who started it. Where I'm going with this is when the Niners player kind of extends his right arm into Big Dom's face. Did you watch that in slow motion?
Mm-hmm,
they played it about 11 times on the... Did it look like the guy, he was kind of doing the old smell my finger bit from junior high?
I don't know if that was on purpose or he was just kind of getting pushed away. That's on 93x.com.
Yep.
I said, that's what I said to the guys at the bar. I said, was that the old junior high smell my finger routine? What was that?
Penalty flag will go down against the 49ers for extracurricular pushing after Smith was out of bounds.
Personal foul number 57 of San Francisco, who has also been disqualified.
He's out.
The Eagles security director
Big Dom
takes a swat in the face from Greenlaw, and now he's going to be disqualified.
And the crowd loved Big Dom. They gave him a big round of applause.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's the most popular guy in Philadelphia right now.
Look, he's getting a standing O.
This is unbelievable.
I mean, we started the broadcast telling you he gave us a great restaurant deal last night. Now he's getting a standing O at the link.
All right, so there were some problems there between those two ball clubs.
If Greenlaw needs a job, the WWE should sign him. That was a beautiful suplex.
That was quite the suplex.
Somebody got picked up and suplexed?
Yeah, that's what started the whole
I
scuffle.
missed it. I just saw the finger sniff.
Yeah, he picked him up, suplexed him.
Really?
great.
Like a German suplex?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like a Kurt Angle. He didn't want to let go.
Oh, God. All right, there were some other shenanigans. Oh, for God's sake, this poor bastard who was running the chains in the Saints Lions game.
God, that was ugly.
So bad.
For Christ's sake, his leg broke in half. He's screaming. He's hollering.
Yeah, that's not going to be the same anymore.
They said today he dislocated his knee. Bad enough. He's got to have surgery, but it looked to me like his leg, like he said, broke in half.
Yeah, that looked like a little worse than just dislocating it. That's up on 93x.com if you haven't seen it.
That threw me, too, when they said dislocated knee. That looked like a full-on tibula fibula kind of a thing.
Sideways. It's not supposed to do that.
Kamara made the first man miss and got close to the first down. Derek Barnes popped him to the sideline. One of the officials over there is injured.
The guys yell.
I don't blame him.
If you missed it, what's his name?
The look on his face,
too. And then Kamara had he just kind of looked at him and then
Yeah, he
away.
glanced at him like, oh gosh, that's not good. But I mean, like, I was going to ask, what can he do? Is he, like, would he be allowed to, like, check on him? Like, kneel by
What
him?
the hell good is he going to do?
I don't know, just, see if he's okay.
If you don't know what we're talking about in the Saints-Lions game.
I don't think he's
okay. The Saints running back, Arnold Kamala, whatever the hell his name is, he goes out, Alvin Kamala.
Kamara?
He goes out of bounds. He rolls up on this poor bastard who's running the sticks, and his leg came off, and he's screaming and yelling. I mean, Kamarlan, he showed a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Compassion?
Concern, and he did. He stopped. I mean, you could tell the guy was in terrible pain. But what the hell is he going to do? He's got to go back and run a play, so that sucked.
I often think about those security guys who have their backs to the play all the time.
Yeah.
And how it's amazing that some of those guys just don't get completely wiped out during a game because they're not paying attention at all. At least this guy had his face towards the action and couldn't get out of the way fast enough. You know, you have to drop the sticks and back up, but, you know, the play's happening so fast. But those guys who are, you know, who spend the entire game looking into the stands as opposed to watching what's happening behind them, I often think how dangerous that could be for those guys.
Yeah.
And it's only going to take one of those guys to get completely wiped out for the NFL to likely change how that looks, because it's going to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt pretty bad in that situation. You just know it's going to happen.
Yes, it's going to happen periodically. When you
or
guys,
even a cheerleader too. Sometimes
Well,
they're
but
not.
they're far enough back. They're far enough back, actually.
and they usually have fellas looking out for them.
I don't worry about them as much as I do. Well, certainly a chain gang. Those guys, you know, are committed to holding those sticks for as long as they can.
Till the last second.
Until the last second. But those guys who have their backs to the play, those are the one, and they're not just guys, they're women too. They have no chance. I mean, there's nobody watching out for them. And it's going to take one
I'm
time.
amazed in this day and age we still have the chain thing.
That's a good point.
The chain crew.
There's another way to do that, I would think.
Let's keep some regularity in football. I like seeing them out of shape bastards run up and down the sideline trying to. Hey, when I played youth football, tell me if any of the rest of you had this same gimmick going. When I played youth football, remember how our dads would stand right on the sideline because they were too what's the word? I'm losing words.
Involved?
Yeah, they were way too involved, so they're standing. There were certain dads that I targeted when I went out of bounds.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Go right for their friggin' knees.
Jeez,
back up, you prick. Josh, did you like the Tyreek Hill roller coaster touchdown celebration?
That was clever.
You liked it?
Yeah,
I loved it.
That was pretty funny.
I like how the offensive linemen locked each of the riders in before the.
That was my favorite part.
That's the best part.
Is that on our website?
Yep.
Check out the Tyreek Hill roller coaster ride touchdown celebration. The New England stupid Patriots lost their 5th straight game on Sunday. They lost to the Los Angeles Chargers by a final of 6-0. What is it, 1971? Lost 6-0. But they made history. They became the first team in the Super Bowl era to lose 3 straight games despite allowing 10 points or less in each contest.
Oh, wow.
Their defense is doing the job. They're not giving up more than 10 points, and they can't win a game. That's hilarious. I love that.
Sound like the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
The Iowa Hawkeyes couldn't score many points this year. They didn't score many points in that final game. Nope. They didn't score any?
No, and I thought I saw
they had
some
a
place where Vegas
or
or some place had a line where the over-under for points was 0.5 for each half. And if you had taken that, you would, I mean, who in their right mind would take that under in that?
Let me tell you something else about it. We're going to get
That's crazy how bad they are offensively.
We're going to get to college football in just a minute. But since you brought up the Iowegian Club, I'll throw this at you, and then trust me, we'll get back to college football. There was a joint in Iowa. I've been to this joint once or twice. What do they call it? X Golf?
Top Golf?
Oh.
Top Golf.
Whatever. Where you stand and you fire the golf balls at targets.
That place is a blast. I love that.
Top Golf. Is that what it's called? Top Golf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
They had I bet they got hammered on Saturday night. They had a deal at this Top Golf.
This one was an X Golf.
Okay, X Golf. Same thing?
I think so.
Not the same
it's not?
thing.
No, X Golf uses the golf simulators.
Simulators.
Yeah, you're not hitting.
Oh, you're not X.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter, but here's the deal. They had a deal at X Golf where if you booked a tee time there, you got free beer until Iowa scored
Packle.
a point.
Honey, take my keys.
And you got free beer all the way through the game until Iowa scored a point or until your bay time ends, whatever you know what I'm talking about, your reserve time. So then no one paid for a beer that night because they never scored?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice. That'd be cool.
All right.
Bad for your liver, but cool.
A little more pro football, then we'll get to the college because there was a hilarious sequence in the Colts-Titans game. The Colts blocked a punt for a touchdown. Very exciting. Blocked a punt, and then the guy picks it up. He goes into the end zone. The Colts went for 2 on the extra point. The Titans intercepted a pass on that 2-point attempt, and they returned it to the opposite end zone to score the 2 points for themselves.
And it was blocked. The Colts got it. Scooped up by Stewart. Touchdown! The Colts with a special teams score. Nick Cross blocked it. Grant Stewart scores. And the Colts will go for 2. And it's picked off. Going the other way is Amani Hooker. And Hooker is going to go the distance.
I'm telling you what, I mean, I don't know if that's ever happened before. That's worth the price of admission right there for me. Seeing that back-to-back plays. So there you go on that. All right. I don't know if I'm opening up a can of worms here, but I saw an article this morning, and I know it's been a topic of conversation for a while. I just don't know if we've ever discussed it. But let her buck if you're passionate about that. And watching the Eagles play again last night, I think, brought it back to the forefront. Will the NFL ban the tush push before next football season?
You mean the love shove?
The brotherly shove, or whatever they call it?
Whatever you want to call it. Do you
shove.
Care at all?
I don't care enough.
I
Fair
think
enough,
Roger
Brad Wright.
Goodell should leave it alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to get rid of it.
Why? It's a play.
It is a
Leave
play.
it alone.
All right, I don't care either.
Yeah, find out how to stop it.
I guess you
Spike
push
strips.
You push the you push the nose tackle by the ass, right? Then you just have a stalemate right there at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that. Monday Night Football tonight, Jacksonville and Cincinnati. Okay, college football. They announced the Final Four
What a
setup.
mess.
Who's playing who? Tell me who's playing.
And Michigan's playing Alabama.
Right.
And Texas is playing Washington.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but go Alabama.
But, I mean...
Can both teams lose that game?
Yeah, no kidding.
There's so much controversy over why Florida State does not get in. They go undefeated. The criteria for the end of the season for teams to get in, I guess I didn't pay as much attention to this during the last 3-4 years. they've been doing this, and I don't think there's really been a lot of controversy about it. This is by far the most that I've seen. And I know it's the last year of just 4 teams. Next year it's 12. But there's a lot of people who just think that this is just stupid, that Florida State, a Power 5 team, goes undefeated and does not get in the Final Four.
Yeah, I don't follow it very closely, Randy Shaver, but that sounds pretty weak to me.
Yeah, I agree. The explanation that was given by the head of the chairman or the chairman of the committee yesterday was that, Florida State's not the same team because they don't have their starting quarterback. Well, you know what? I give them more credit for winning their last 3 games because they didn't have their starting quarterback. I mean, if they got their number 3 quarterback and they just beat a top 15 team to win their, conference championship, and they haven't lost a game all year, they beat LSU, they beat some other SEC. Florida. They beat Florida. They beat LSU. They should be in.
Why are they being penalized for an injury that they have no?
You're penalizing the rest of the team
that they were able to overcome.
It's pretty stupid.
And be in a position to actually finish undefeated. I just don't understand
the
argument
concept. Is Alabama. Everybody says, well, Alabama's a better team. Well, how do you know?
We don't know that.
Exactly.
A lot of people thought Georgia was a better team.
How do people know that? The analysts think, Alabama's better. Well, how do we know that?
This setup sucks. It sucks. They need to do a big fat
Alabama
playoff.
was one Hail Mary away from losing to Auburn. Who lost the week before to Jerry Kill's New Mexico A&T team or whatever the heck he's coaching.
I love it, Brad Ryder. Brad's pissed.
Well, I didn't like it. I mean, I'm not losing sleep over it, but it's stupid.
It sucks to hear some dude with power in NCAA football said, well, they don't have their top-string quarterback, so they're saying they wouldn't put on a good enough show?
Right.
Yeah. That's pathetic.
Yeah.
That's pathetic.
That's just I don't understand the concept. I mean, are the other teams deserving to get there? Sure. I don't have a problem with Alabama. They beat Georgia. They deserve the opportunity. Washington's had a great year. Texas is really good. They beat Alabama this year. But when you've got a team that goes undefeated in a Power 5 conference and played the way they did on Saturday with their defense playing a hell of a game against Louisville, I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't see how they not deserve to get in.
They did. It's obvious they did. I can't stand that Nick Saban guy and the University of Alabama football program, but I hope they embarrass Michigan so badly that they're never heard from again. I hope an errant pass cracks Jim Harbaugh's sunglasses.
I seriously don't want either team to win, so I'm not watching the game. I don't care.
Now, back to this Texas, University of Texas football team. They played Oklahoma State in their conference championship game, and we all love sports rivalries, right?
Of course. Yep.
There's a lot of people like me who think that the piss and vinegar of old school rivalries, those days have come and gone, and it's a damn shame. So it's kind of fun to read about the existence of bitter rivalries in this day and age. But son of a bitch, what are we doing here? This has gone too far. A dead longhorn steer was found on an Oklahoma State University fraternity lawn the day before Texas played Oklahoma State in the conference championship game.
Guys, all right, let's calm down. That's way too much.
We're talking a legit dead, big bastard longhorn steer, and it had an expletive carved into it, and the stomach was cut out of it. What is this serial killer crap?
Those are heavy, too. How did they get it there?
The cops are looking into it. They're saying this is absolutely cruel and ridiculous.
Yeah.
That person needs to be in jail. They're like locked away somewhere.
On the frat house lawn, and they're trying to talk to this frat house, and I bet they're thinking, well, we're done.
Oh, gosh, yeah. You think?
That's just straight up animal cruelty. What the hell is going on over there? That's sick. Whatever happened to playing the soggy waffle and the baby elephant walk?
I mean, not the soggy waffle.
Well, that's what the frat houses do. They're always playing the soggy saltine and the baby elephant
I guess
walk.
that's the lesser evil. But
just go inside with your keg of beer
and your waffle
and do uncomfortable things to each other. Don't be torturing animals, for God's sake. This poor cow is just thinking, hey, boys, what's going on tonight, right? and they gut him and take him to the frat house. That's brutal. It's like something from the Texas Chainsaw program. By the way, someone texted in, Heights Pizza Jesus, and he said the kid that returned that 2-point conversion for the Titans yesterday we were talking about, they say he's from Brooklyn Park.
That's awesome.
He played for Park Center.
Huh.
Played for the Iowa Hawkeyes and played for Park Center.
You know who else lived in Brooklyn Park for a while? Ron Simmons.
No, that's so.
Well, if he played for Iowa, that was the first time he saw the end zone in a while.
He was a defensive man.
Yeah.
So he saw a lot more than his offense.
True.
Ron Simmons, I think, lived in Brooklyn Park for a while. Dang! I don't know who Warren Zeters is, but back to this Big 12 championship game. Apparently someone named Warren Zeters brutally ruined the national anthem. He was singing the national anthem at that ball game. You guys know who I'm talking about?
No idea.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we
Holy Jesus.
at the twilight's last gleaming.
That sucked.
I don't know. I've heard worse.
And who did?
I've heard worse too.
Yeah.
Well, no one's saying
Lewis. Come on.
No one's saying it's the worst. They're just saying it was bad. Who tuned his guitar?
Yeah, the guitar made it even worse.
Apparently, he's a country singer, and someone.
Yeah, you think?
He's trying to be.
The comments here on social media say, "Go back to TikTok." So maybe that's where he came from. The comments were pretty bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It didn't get any better either.
Someone said this is exactly why I hate country music. Who told him he could
blame
sing?
country music for that.
Sure, we can. I'm going to go ahead.
Can't.
Someone said he sounded like a Saturday Night Live parody of a country singer.
For the ramparts we watch, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets, red flag.
It's all falling apart.
Oh, that was hard.
Oh, that's so tough.
Never gets any easier, does it?
No, it doesn't.
The University of Minnesota Golden Gophers Football Club will play Bowling Green in the Quick Lane Bowl Tuesday, December 26th at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan.
Woohoo!
Let's road trip.
Well, I was going to offer to have everybody over, but yeah, if you want a road trip, Brad, I'm in.
You know what? I'd rather you send the University of St. Thomas.
You guys can all blow me. I still got an oar in the water. I'm still a row the boat, full-on PJ Fleck guy. I don't care who knows it. I'll be watching the Quick Lane Bowl. I love it. This will be the 5th bowl game for the U of M under PJ Fleck. What other games did they play in? They played in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
Yep.
They played in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Oh, who could forget that unbelievable game against Auburn in the Outback Bowl? That was one of the greatest.
It was.
That was a legit bowl.
But
Yes,
I guess
it was.
Well, you guys are hard to please. Kiss my ass. Kiss PJ's ass too.
I'm good.
They finished
No, you're
5
not.
and 7. Come on. Jeez.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Fine.
5 and 7. 2 of their quarterbacks transferred. They're going to play a 5th-year senior who has barely played. It's just, what a mess.
Don't care, Sky. You might go Gophers.
All right.
You forgot row the boat.
I said that already, Brad Ryder.
Okay.
Don't critique my love for PJ Fleck.
I'm not critiquing your love.
I wasn't talking to you, Randy. I was talking to Brad. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
No. I
Sounds like Clay Matvick's critiquing your love, though.
Yes. And rightfully so.
Can't argue with that. Can't question that. Golden Gopher basketball, they fought like hell. They lost by 10 in Ohio. What do you call that town? Columbus, Ohio last night. Big Ten season opener at Ohio State.
Yep.
Watch his nuts. Got to go ahead and score 25 points on us. Jamison battle. Nebraska comes to the barn on Wednesday.
Oh, that means Fred's back.
Freddie. Northwestern basketball, they beat the #1 team in the country. Same team as they beat last year. if you follow what I mean by that. They upset Purdue over the weekend. Last year they upset Purdue when Purdue was number 1. They raised all kinds of hell. Northwestern. They're saying the most disrespectful block of all time.
This was pretty cold-blooded.
Talking basketball now. Block shot. They're saying over the weekend in something called the Elite. No, that's not right. Yes, no, I had it right. A league called the Overtime Elite League. Has anyone ever heard of this?
I have not.
No.
I think it's college-age kids play in this league looking to attract scholarships. So, like, junior hockey types.
Like between high school and college, kind of.
That's what I understand. Okay. Like college hockey kids who go off and play in Waterloo, Iowa, and hope they get a call from Bob Motzko or something like that, right?
Maybe it's kind of like high school football kids. They'll go to Florida and play for that team in Florida. They have like a
the IMG.
It's kind of like an in-between kind of a deal.
Is this video up on our website?
Yep.
Because really, I've never seen this before, and I think it is the most disrespectful block shot of all time. So, Daquan Davis. Here's who was playing. Someone called RWE against someone called the Cold Hearts. So, Daquan Davis, a guard for RWE, drives to the rim and attempts to score on a big man that plays for the Cold Hearts by the name of Peyton Marshall. Marshall's nearly a foot taller than Davis, so he was just able to overwhelm him and block his shot. And then Davis goes flying out of bounds, lands on his back. While Davis is lying on his back out of bounds, completely stunned by what has happened, Marshall tossed Davis the basketball.
Yo, no, that's actually insane. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen in a basketball game. Did he throw it to him while he was on the ground?
And it was still in, too, look. It was still in, and he grabbed it, that was hilarious, though. Like, he going viral off there right there.
Davis catches the ball. He's out of bounds, so Marshall's team gets the basketball. Are you able to follow that? You got to see this. He didn't have to do it. He had possession of the ball, but he did it anyway just to be a prick.
I love that so much.
He threw the ball to the guy who he had just blocked, who's lying out of bounds, saying, "What happened?" Beautiful. Disrespectful as hell, but beautiful. Holler at me when you see that, Randy Shaver. I think you'll have a great appreciation for that.
I'm trying to see it on your website, but I don't see it on your
Hilariously disrespectful. Yeah, our website blows, but eventually you'll stumble on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, just holler at us when you see it. No hurry. All right, prior to this season, the Timberwolves had only spent 10 days total as the number 1 seed in the Western Conference in their 34-year lifetime. This season, they've already spent more time than that as the number 1 seed. Isn't that something?
That's well deserved.
That's really cool.
Only
well
10,
deserved.
Yes. In the whole history of the team, they only spent 10 days as the number 1 seed in the West prior to this season.
If you think defense doesn't matter in the NBA, this is a perfect example of how a team can transform themselves into a legitimate contender. May not have the greatest talent across the board as some other teams, but they make up for it by the way that they play.
It's working so far.
Yep, you got to give them credit for where they are right now. The question is, and Finch has said this himself, how consistent can we be? Can we be consistent with the way that we're playing? Because that's going to be the secret to the whole thing. And so far, you have to give them credit that they have played that way for the vast majority of the time so far this year.
They should win 2 games this week, too.
Yes, they should.
Schedule.
They got San Antonio and Memphis.
Weird week, right? With all the tournament stuff, but yeah.
They had a nice win. I'm bad with my days here lately. Sunday. Yes. Sunday, yesterday, what day is it today? Monday?
Yep.
Yesterday afternoon. Was it? Oh, no,
Yes.
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon at 4.
Over Charlotte. That was a solid win. Looking good. Saturday night, the Dallas Mavericks made, I guess, sort of NBA history. They went on a 30 6-0 run in the fourth quarter against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They still lost the game.
That's the more impressive part.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That last little tidbit is the icing on the cake of that record.
It was the longest scoring run without allowing a basket in what they call the play-by-play era, which dates back to 96, 97. So it depends on how serious you take this or that. But the run lasted for 11 minutes and I'll get there. It lasted from the 11-minute 9-second mark of the fourth quarter until the 4-minute 18-second mark. They went on a 30-0 run, a 32-0 run. And Dallas was down 111-87. Next thing you know, it's 117-111.
And actually, if you think about that, that's a 7-minute span?
Yeah.
I think that's how you put it. That's a lot of points in 7 minutes, too.
It is.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like it took a long time. That's pretty quick.
They can dump them into the hoop quick these days, Randy Shaver.
Yeah.
Did everyone see the Patrick Beverly video where he ran into his ultimate superfan?
Yeah, that was cute.
Patrick Beverly was hanging out before the Celtics 76ers game Friday night. The 76ers shared this on their social media thing. A young kid walks up to the side of the court looking for Patrick to sign his jersey. Little did Patrick know he's got a Bulls jersey on. You know, almost all of the team that Patrick has played for. Kid's got a Bulls jersey on. Patrick signs it. The kid lifts that up. Underneath the Bulls jersey, he's got a Lakers jersey on. Patrick signs it. As soon as he's done signing that, the kid pulls it up. He's got a Timberwolves jersey. Signs it. Next thing, Clippers. I don't know how the hell this kid, he didn't look bulked up or anything.
No, not at all.
Funny.
And then finally, after 4 jerseys, he had an I Love Pat Bev t-shirt that you might have seen. Pat signed them all. He was pumped.
That's pretty funny.
Very creative. Very creative. He did not have a Rockets or a 76ers jersey in there, but he covered, 4 of the 6 teams?
Yeah.
That was cute.
I'm just looking at the standings here. When do the Pistons and Spurs play? The Pistons have lost 17 in a row, and the Spurs have lost 14 in a row. My gosh.
You'd probably choose to go to that game over the Quick Lane Bowl with the Golden Gophers and Bowling Green. Yeah,
I might. Yeah.
That's a lot of losses. We got a lot of losses, they said in the movie Slapshot. Yeah, I don't know when they play. Maybe someone can find that out.
Yeah.
That should be featured on
it should be
some channel, especially if they both continue to lose, which is a long shot. But
they'll only play twice because of East and West.
Right. You guys know what happened 26 years ago today? Going back to 1997?
No.
The NBA suspended Latrell Sprewell for 1 year. 1 year suspension when he choked the living hell out of his coach, P.J. Carlesimo. Threatened to kill him, too, with the Golden State Warriors. I remember that like it was yesterday. The look on P.J. Carlesimo's face was something. If I remember right, Latrell choked him out, and they pried Latrell off of P.J. and sent him back to the locker room. And then when no one was looking, Latrell came back out. And he said, "I'm not done with you yet, you son of a bitch." He hated P.J. Carlesimo. What the hell is Latrell doing now? Anyone know?
I don't think he's doing anything.
No, I don't know.
Selling rims.
But we had, I say we, but when I was there, we had him back, come back to a game and, do the signing autographs.
I was there, Brad Ryder, thanks to you. Yeah.
So I don't know what he's doing right now, but back then he really wasn't doing much, about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was at that game, and he seemed very happy, and the crowd gave him a good ovation. And
it was very nice.
I mean,
all of us that night.
Everybody flips out once in a while.
Who hasn't choked a coach?
Yeah.
Exactly. Who hasn't?
Well, I mean, okay, sure, that's an original situation. I've flipped out. I've choked a few people out. Most of them said bad things about P.J. Fleck. My guy. I love that son of a bitch with his rah-rah attitude. Old Latrell Sprewell.
It looks like he's doing community relations with the Knicks.
Community relations?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes out to schools and whatnot, and
yeah, stuff like that.
All right, well, that's good for him. Yeah. Wasn't there a story about how he had a big yacht and then it just kind of he docked it one day in Milwaukee and then he never went back to the damn thing and it rusted up and then
it was repossessed.
Interesting. Okay.
Hey, I got a yacht. No kidding. Where are you, Miami? No, Milwaukee.
I just keep it there.
And again, the Pigs are suddenly the 1972 Soviet Olympic hockey team.
What is going on?
They sign up that John Hines dude.
All they do is win.
And now they're Viktor Tikhonov and the 72 Soviet Olympic hockey team. They are perfect under the new coach. They beat the Blackhawks yesterday 4-1.
Yes.
This guy scored, that guy scored. They're 3-0. But now they got to take a little road trip. If I remember right, when we used to have Zacky Zach on the air, I don't think he was ever crazy about their road trips to Alberta.
I don't know why you would be.
I think he said it was kind of boring. So tomorrow night they are in Alberta against the Calgary Flames. Vancouver, Edmonton.
They used to play them a lot more than they do now, though, right?
I know. I don't miss those days.
It was like almost every other weekend.
Yes, I don't miss those days.
Those teams. So.
And then they also have a stop in stupid Seattle that shouldn't have a hockey team in the first place. But anyway, road trip coming up. We'll see what happens with the wild / early 70s Soviet hockey club.
You didn't even talk about the big story of the weekend.
What did I miss? Don't do that to me, Brad Ryder. We got a lot of things we try to cover. I hate that when people do that. What did I miss?
You missed the lead story.
Aren't we all butthurt about the fact Taylor Swift didn't show up here, but she went to Green Bay last night?
Shut up.
I did notice that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Whatever.
Very hurtful.
Yes.
Friend of mine.
Why
what
doesn't
did
she
we
like
do
that?
wrong? What did we do wrong?
Exactly.
Wasn't it our mayor kind of creeped her out or something?
Oh, God.
Can we stop this, please? None of this matters at all.
So you didn't watch the Kelsey Taylor Swift documentary on Hulu that came out over the weekend?
No, I think I was watching an inspirational speech on YouTube given by PJ Fleck. I think that's what I was watching. Stop with this Taylor Swift. Jesus criminy with this Taylor Swift, whatever his name is, the big fathead tight end. I'm so tired of that. A listener, not a listener. Well, he listens, but he's also a close personal friend of mine. Just texted and said Latrell Sprewell is a bouncer at a bar in Milwaukee. That'd be pretty cool. Hey, throw me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Choke me like I'm a coach.
Yeah.
Go home and say I got thrown out of a bar. Yeah? What's the big story there? Latrell Sprewell threw me out. That'd be fun. All right, we're going to pull the plug here, boys, but we'll keep going tomorrow with you, Randy Shaver, and Brad, we'll have you back in the mix on Wednesday.
All right.
Appreciate it, boys. Welcome back home, Randy Shaver.
Thank you.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Grace here, customer service rep at Standard Heating. I'm proud to work for a company that understands and takes care of our fellow Minnesotans. Our weather here can be a little unpredictable and even extreme. That's why we've been here for 93 years and counting, to keep our community safe and comfortable.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.
Former Navy SEAL Mike Ritland keeps it real on the Mike Drop podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Rudy Reyes.
The ethics of martial arts is why I joined the Marine Corps. I never thought I was going to join the military because I'd been around so much gun violence, and I wanted to be the antithesis of that. I loved fighting hand to hand. It's fair. You don't have to kill your opponent. You can beat them with ability and skill.
Mike Drop, raw, unfiltered, intellectually sound, wherever you listen.
You're listening to the radio.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
That's pretty good stuff. Absolutely. What a hell of a deal this is right here. It's Monday morning. We're having a hell of a good time. Thanks for listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. As we dial in here, Josh, my clock says 8:28 in the godforsaken AM.
I got the same thing over here.
Earlier this morning, we were jaw-jacking about bizarre, creepy, maybe even criminal ex-coworkers. We've had some low-life dullards come and go from this building over the years, no question about it. I had mixed emotions about it earlier. I was saying, yeah, it was nice to see a lot of them leave, but it was kind of fun to have unhinged, self-absorbed lunatics in the building. It was kind of fun. And I'm sure we'll gain some more as time goes by here. But
Hopefully.
we asked our listeners to text us about that one coworker, and you're still free to do that. Text us about that one coworker that you still talk about today. Our number is 651-989-9393. I would love to be able to pinpoint it to one. It's very difficult to do, and sorry if it's difficult for you too and our listening audience to pinpoint just one. If you have the time, maybe you can try to tell us about more than one. But all we're asking, tell us about that one coworker that you still talk about. We did have some texts come in. I'm imagining a few came your way, Josh.
Yeah.
About that one coworker. Feel free to tell us all about it.
This first one's from Micro Penis Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
He said, back in the day, he worked for a credit union. The director of HR got so hammered and out of control at the Christmas party, she was suspended. And the CEO and execs decided they had to figure out what to do about it, since normally she'd be the person involved in the conversation on how to deal with it. He said it was great watching them trying to figure this out.
That'd be difficult.
They had to just improvise.
Imagine if they just like, hey, you're the expert here. You know, people make mistakes. I'm going to let myself off the hook on this one. I've never seen one of our HR people go just off the rails at one of these things.
I don't even know who our HR people are.
Oh, you will.
Well, now they're corporate.
Yeah,
you'll see them soon enough. Yeah, they're always there when you get fired.
End of the year, I'll probably be talking to them.
Yeah, usually it's in December.
Yeah.
Oh, here we are. It's coming up on firing time. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, the in-office HR person here would get mad at me a lot because I would always have to go to them with all my computer problems. They were kind of, back in those days.
Well, he was the IT guy. Not an HR guy.
IT, HR, double Ds. I don't know what I'm talking about. Here's a listener whose boss at a local garbage company had his home raided and was indicted for racketeering.
Ooh.
That's a big story.
Yeah.
Said it was all over the news and whatnot. Racketeering. Can someone explain to me exactly what that involves?
Well, it's like some sort of organized crime.
Yeah.
It's a financial crime. I can't remember exactly how it works. I mean, that's as far as I can go with it.
That's
You
enough
steal
for me.
money of somehow, right?
That's enough for me. Organized money scam of some sort. Okay.
They talked about in The Sopranos a lot.
I've never seen The Sopranos.
Never saw it.
Surprisingly enough, it seems like something.
Yeah, it seems like a show you would really. I know for a fact you would really enjoy it. Josh.
Does it involve gambling then? If you said they talked about it a lot. Or I'm not 100% sure on the details, other than I know it's like an organized crime financial deal.
Some type, yeah. So the definition is set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. So you're kind of hiding money is basically what it is.
That's enough for me.
Okay.
That's enough for me. Now, we've had a lot of problems in this building over the years with thievery. Folks stealing everything from your lunch to a damn television and a video game console.
Sex doll.
Sex dolls.
Oh, yeah, we had a sex doll stuff.
That was maybe the most heartbreaking one of all. Was when
we just got her.
Yeah, Josh and I.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't bring it up.
No, I'm better with it now than I was a few years ago, but Josh and I spent a lot of money to create a real sex doll and order it over the internet. The doll had features that I enjoyed and features that Josh enjoyed. We were going to share it. And I think it was in the building for a day. Neither one of us had a chance to pump away on it, and it was stolen.
We didn't even get to flirt with her. Nothing.
Oh, not right.
No courting, no nothing.
Oh.
So here's a text message from Mouse in Cheese's Jesus. Had a kleptomaniac at work. Stole anything that wasn't nailed down. Everything from toilet paper to office computers. He was promoted 3 times.
Funny how that works out.
Driving for a living. Tough gig. We have a lot of professional drivers that listen to this program. A listener texted in and said that he drives for a living. There was a driver/dispatcher at his company who smoked meth and crack and was caught drinking in his work van.
That'll do it. Oh, you got a good story about a friend of yours who lied about his credentials while operating heavy machinery.
Oh, no. That's not something you want to lie about.
This is one of my oldest and greatest friends. It's Pistol Pete from across the street. You guys hear me talk about him a lot on this program.
Yep.
One of the ultimate characters. Love him to death. I miss him. He lives out of state. But he liked to run a lot of scams, Pistol Pete, once he grew up. A lot of scams. And one of his greatest was he wanted a high-paying job with no qualifications required. So he lied on a lot of resumes, and there was a company that fell for it. He told them he had a number of years' experience driving heavy machinery. He just wanted that paycheck for a brief amount of time. That was kind of how he did it. Tell some lies on a resume, get a job that pays pretty well. If it lasts a month, at least he got a check or two and he can move on to the next scam. But in this particular situation, and he thought he had it nailed, he got hired to drive heavy machinery, knowing, because he's a smart guy, you got to be smart to run some of these scams, knowing that they're not going to put him in the big back-end loader right away. They've got seasoned veterans who are going to handle that eventually. They'll move him into that position. But for now, he's just on the roadside with a broom kind of a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's starting out as a grunt, but he's getting that paycheck, and eventually they're going to put him in that back-end loader, and he's going to move this. But it so happened that one day, one of the operators didn't show up. So then they said, okay, Pistol Pete, go ahead. Donnie's not showing up. He gets in the cab of this. Who knows how expensive, massive friggin' back-end loader, whatever the hell it was, front end, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Big bulldozer, some bitch. He gets in the cab. He has no idea what he's doing. No idea. But he figures he's cocky enough to say, well, I can probably figure it out on the fly. He pulls this lever. He pulls that lever. Ah! He rolled the sumbitch over into the ditch. He rolled it all the way over. He almost killed a dozen guys.
First and last day, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's when he got out and said, yeah, I don't have any idea.
Yeah, I lied to you guys.
The resume was, I'm going to go.
A lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. Mad respect to you guys. Australian Jesus said we had a coworker come in from a temp agency. When she said hello for the first time, she also asked if we had any expired prescription meds she could buy.
That's amazing.
She was fired within a week.
That's a good opener.
We had a guy in the building who, anytime anyone was sick, this is years ago when things were much shadier around here. Josh knows who I'm talking about. Anytime anyone was sick, he'd say, hey, if you don't end up, using all those meds, stop by my office and I'll take them. He liked to go home and mix meds with booze. He didn't care what it was, and then he'll
take it.
Turn on Pink Floyd, The Wall, or whatever, and have a riot. What were you saying, Smashley?
I always forget about the best coworker I ever had, and I don't know how I forget about this, but I worked at like a really nice, it was like some type of yacht club, boat club thing. So it was like rich people, and one of the cooks, I guess, like robbed a bank.
Sweet.
And so the SWAT team came to the club and was like, hey, you're under arrest.
That must have been incredible.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And was it the type of person where you were surprised by it, or you figured, he's going to end up in some major trouble for something someday?
I was pretty shocked because he was a pretty like high up there type of cook. Like he definitely made a decent amount of money doing what he did. And
really?
Yeah. I was like,
You know what? You should have really effed him up. You should have effed up, played with his emotions a little bit. Once they had him cuffed and they were walking out of the building, you should have said, I'll wait for you. He's like, wait a minute, the blonde Ashley?
I don't really even know.
Yeah.
Texas carpenter was doing a home remodel, and a coworker was caught by the homeowner doing a, quote, meat beat session in the bathroom. So they had to, apparently, they kick him out, and they had to go back in and awkwardly grab his tools after he grabbed his.
Yeah, he did.
You don't get fired for that around here, I've learned.
No, yeah, you've seen two.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So weird.
So our listeners have been texting in about that one coworker that they'll always remember. Many different reasons why you might remember this individual. It could be really creepy. It couldn't. Not all of this stuff is destructive and disgusting. Well, I guess this would qualify as disgusting. One of our listeners says, I used to work with a guy where every time he took a dump, he sent me a picture of it from the bathroom.
We had a guy like that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Huh. Thankfully, I don't have that friend.
Another listener says, I worked with a guy who used to masturbate at work just to say he got paid to do it.
Yes, that's good logic.
I know some people poop at work for that reason. Same exact logic.
Get paid to poop?
Weird flex.
I probably was that one coworker for a lot of people during my 87-day stint in the car rental business. They're probably like, yeah, remember that guy? He'd show up still drunk from the night before every morning. He got sent home once for being too sweaty at work.
Too sweaty.
That's great.
Yeah. That happened because he had to wear a suit at the airport. So I was in the parking ramp, renting cars to people. And it was so hot that day that the boss just pulled me aside and said, hey, dude, just go home for the day. Like, I sweat not through the dress shirt, through the actual suit jacket as well.
That's pretty gross.
Is that the heat, or did you have the shakes from the night before?
No, it was just the heat. It was so humid that day. And then, you had that clipboard with a contract on it. Like, sweat is dripping on the contract. It was pretty disgusting.
Steelers fan Jesus says that he works with a few people that spend more effort avoiding doing their job than it would take just to actually do their job.
A carpenter texted in to say they had a guy on staff who showed up high on ecstasy and installed everything upside down. A lady texted in, a female listener texted in about the one coworker she'll always remember. Dude had a problem with staring at women in the office. Staring at boobs. Staring at butts.
Yikes.
She says, I get it. Boobs and butts are fun to look at.
Sure are.
You just got to shut that down at work.
Yeah, or at least hide it better. Jeez.
I worked at the Minnesota Zoo once, and I had a coworker who brought his other business to the zoo. He sold weed, and he would sell it to people that were frequenting the zoo, often teenagers.
We would never have that at the radio station.
Heck no.
Selling marijuana to young people at promotions. No, that would never happen.
Oh.
How about this from a listener? The I got so wasted over the weekend guy every Monday morning got really tired after a while.
Yeah, I could see that.
That was very common in the restaurant
Oh,
industry.
I bet.
He was, or she didn't say anything about the restaurant. Oh, you're going back to your
my
time.
experience, yep.
This listener says he was 46 years old and still counting his beers and shots on Fridays and Saturdays.
The people that tally it on their arms.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anyone tally it on their arm.
Yeah, that was big
really?
in
Yeah.
college.
Mm-hmm.
I never hung out with the, they just keep a magic marker in their back pocket or what?
Yeah, good question. I don't know.
Like you said, not all these are scandalous. Some are just weird. Like this text says, I'm a groomer. We hired a girl who would raise her hand and ask if she could take a lunch break or use the restroom. Like she's in school.
What the hell?
Yeah, if you have to go to the bathroom, just go.
Very respectful.
Back to driving again. Because like I said, we've got a lot of drivers in our listening audience. This is very dramatic. I love this one. A listener tells me one of our drivers smashed a work van into his ex-wife's house because he saw her walking down the street with a man while on his delivery route.
Scandalous.
This was 8 years after they had split up.
Oh, no.
8 years had gone by.
That changed.
Angry Bus Driver Jesus said that at his cash transit job, they had a guy who was extremely sheltered by his parents, so he'd need reminders like to flush the toilet or don't forget to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom.
Grew up in some kind of a...
Parents had to do everything for you.
Odd.
Like a child.
Yeah, there's, as I'm reading further, the text from our listening audience. A lot of folks masturbate at work. In one situation, you could hear the buzzing of the vibrator and you could hear the moaning.
Oof.
God dang it. More masturbating at work.
Control yourself.
At least go to the car or something.
Somebody got so pissed at the photocopier, they pushed it down a set of stairs.
I would like to see that.
Who wouldn't want to be part of that?
That would be a lot of fun.
Just to see the guy, just steam coming out of his ears. He's pushing the photocopier across the room. Where are you going with that? Just hang on.
That would be something to see.
Gets to the top of the stairs and just caca.
Poor life choices. Jesus once had a guy that was very Uncle Fester looking, very creepy. Turned out he killed his parents when he was a kid.
Geez. Oh! So, you probably don't have these details, but he killed his parents when he was a kid.
That's what it says, yeah.
He gets out, and now he's looking to have a career.
Yeah, it was like a work release.
Oh, how'd you find that out, too?
Oh, a work release deal.
Yeah, so you could show up at work and... Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I kind of do, and I'm kind of terrified.
That would scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, my God. This is Roger. Nice to meet you. Where'd you grow up? Hopkins. What was your childhood like? Well, I chopped my parents up into little pieces and did a little time. And so, you want to go to Applebee's for lunch, or what do you think? I'd be terrified of that.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
This has been a hell of a lot of fun, and we appreciate all the text messages you've sent our way. We've been talking about that one coworker. I'll be damned. That one coworker who was so odd, so dangerous, so creepy, so whatever, that you still talk about him to this day. Him or her. That one friggin' coworker. Got plenty of messages, trying our hardest to keep up with him. We're at 651-989-9393. What do you got, Cubby?
How about this one? I had a coworker who would ask for a ride home from work, then talk about all the ways they could kill me and my coworkers and get away with it.
Oh, my God.
Apparently, he did kill someone 2 years later.
Oh!
No
work?
way.
It didn't say at work. It sounds like it was a girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm giving you a ride home. Can we talk about the ball game last night or something? That's, oh my damn.
And like we were saying, a lot of people get caught masturbating at work. Too old to be stoned at work. Jesus had an old coworker once fired from a company for rubbing one out in the bathroom and leaving a mess. Oh. He said he was known in the industry for this. Can you imagine that's your reputation?
No, I can't.
Works by myself, for myself, Jesus said that technically he masturbates at work 3 to 5 times a week. Well, he works by himself and for himself.
A little different.
Wisco maple syrup, Jesus said, my old boss got fired for smacking the security person on the ass at work. Apparently she did moonlight as a stripper, but it's still wrong.
No, you dumb bastard.
So remember the story about a groomer who talked about working with someone who used to raise her hand to go to the bathroom and go to lunch.
Yes.
She said, we hired another gal who we later found out set her old grooming salon on fire, so they were too scared to fire her.
God,
they ended up just telling her they didn't have enough business to fill her appointments. They're afraid of how she'd take getting fired.
A pyromaniac, an arsonist. That would frighten me.
Me too. Vintage video game collector Jesus worked with a guy that made his own little hideout in the upstairs mezzanine. When someone discovered it, he said there was porn and, let's say, evidence on the wall.
Don't love that part.
They put it on the wall.
How much would this freak you out? From Minnesota floor sanding Jesus. About 7 years ago, I had a coworker who was so obsessed with me, what I wore, what I did outside of work, etc. One Monday, he showed up to work with the exact same shoes I had on and said, look, we're matching. I ended up telling my boss it was either him or me.
Dude. Like a work stalker.
Yeah. Can you imagine? We're in the same clothes. This person, I worked with a guy in an apartment maintenance. He got caught in a lady's apartment dressed in her clothes.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Don't do that.
If you're a dude, you want to dress in ladies' clothes, go ahead, but just get your own.
Yeah, right. Don't break into somebody's place. One of my coworkers told the boss she had to leave 15 minutes early. Yeah, I got to go beat someone's ass.
I love that.
At least she's honest.
I love that. 15 minutes early, where are you going? Got to go beat somebody's ass.
Have fun. Good luck.
You know, when I was a teenage kid, I worked a warehouse gig. Loved it. It was a riot. The greatest characters. All we did was laugh and raise hell. I just loved that job. I missed those guys. Never should have quit that gig. But there was one guy who lived in a tree outside the warehouse.
Oh.
Lived in a tree.
Quick commute.
He showed us where he lived one day. You step outside the back door of the warehouse, and there was like a low-hanging, big, fat branch on this tree, and he had some blankets and whatnot.
He did not.
Yes, he did. He lived in a tree. And, you know, of course, we all thought, me being a naive teenage kid, I thought, well, this poor guy. Well, I guess the story was that he came from a very normal, functioning household, but he hated his parents, so he chose to live in a tree.
That's the next step.
Dude, I mean, rain or shine, You can find him after work hours. You can find him in his tree.
What in the world?
You guys want to swing over for some beers later?
Yeah.
I'm right across the street in the Maple.
All right, here's a few more that I got from our listeners, and we appreciate it very much. Worked with a guy years ago. This is Lube Salesman Jesus. Worked with a guy years ago. He was very awkward and introverted. Sure, we may have razzed him a little. That's what you do on the job. You bust balls.
Yeah, it's fun.
Very awkward and introverted individual. Eventually, after a stretch of time, he walked up to Lube Salesman Jesus and one of his work buddies and just calmly and quietly said, "You just made the list." And then he walked away. That would be frightening.
What list? And why did I make it?
Do I want to be on the list?
No, I don't think you want to be on the list, actually.
No, that's the vibe he was giving off.
No,
it's a bad list.
That's what it
to be on.
sounded like to me.
Yeah, I'll risk it being a good list and saying I don't want to be on it. I'll just assume it's not a good list.
I don't think I've ever been on a good list.
I love this one because I can tell a relatable story, and I'm self-centered like that. A listener says, an old coworker of mine would always take his index finger and his thumb and pinch the tip of his pee-pee.
Interesting.
Weird.
Can you picture that?
Nervous
Yeah,
tick.
I can
Sure.
picture it.
That's like what little kids do when they're trying to stop themselves from peeing their pants.
Just a kid in sweatpants just blatantly grabbing his junk.
Richfield Jesus had a coworker who was a cook that would pull his junk out of his pants and just leave it out all day under his apron and then periodically flash people.
What is wrong with people?
That's criminal.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Someone else says they work at a local strip club here, and apparently they had a dancer take a dump on the floor to assert her dominance over the other dancers.
Yeah,
And this just happened Saturday.
Please tell me this didn't happen. She took a dump on the floor of the strip joint?
I'm the alpha dog here.
Dominance. Wow.
So back to this text about the dude who would take his thumb and his index finger and habitually, I guess, pinch the tip of his PP. Many years ago at one of these warehouse jobs, again, that I loved so much, this was just the saddest situation. This old-timer joined our night crew. He was really, honestly, too old for the job. You know, this was physical work, but he got hired. And he was a very friendly old guy. Down on his luck, I think he had run his own business for many years, and somehow it all went into the toilet. And this guy, who was, I'm going to guess, over 70 years old, just needed any job. It was sad. So I always was really friendly to him, and he was a really friendly guy, but he had a terrible habit. It wasn't creepy. This was not sexual in any way, but he would, while having conversation, he would squeeze the living hell out of his penis and balls. He just would. I don't know if he had crotch rot or it was just a nerve, but he would. And it was bothersome. It was unnerving, but I'm telling you, it had nothing, there was nothing creepy about it. Well, the night shift manager, this bothered him, and he brought it up all the time. Whenever the old man would walk away, he'd say, "I'm tired of watching that son of a bitch play with himself." And I'd say, "He's not playing." So I'd argue with this guy and say, "Please don't call him out on this. Please, look at the poor guy." But finally, one day, here comes the old timer, and he's like, "Well, I'd stacked up all the boxes, so I'm whatever you'd like me to do next." And he's grinding away at his gear with his right hand. And the night shift guy goes, "God dang it, Johnny, stop playing with your nuts, for Christ's sake, I'm tired of watching you." And the old guy walks away all sad and embarrassed. I felt like garbage.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's a really awful
I was
ending.
so pissed at the boss. I said, "How could you do that to the guy?" I even walked up to old Johnny and, kind of hung out with him for a couple hours because I felt bad.
Yeah, you just got to start grabbing your own. Look, it's okay.
Yeah, I probably...
Stripper sitter Jesus, he's got a couple of more clarifications on the stripper that took a dump on the floor. It was the bathroom floor, and apparently some of the other dancers, or one of the other dancers wasn't paying attention and stepped in it and
Oh, please stop this.
Picture like those big stripper heels.
Are you saying that she stepped in it and slipped in it?
That's what he said.
No.
Somebody else texted and said the only way to solve this is just you got to rub the stripper's nose in it who did it. That'll teach her.
Bad girl.
Chugged up plumber Jesus worked with a guy that always put off a weird molesty vibe. He was arrested after he broke into another coworker's house at night, and they found him standing, staring at the bed.
Dude. And everybody knows, especially if you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that if you want to establish dominance in the workplace, day one, sit down, wait for someone to join you who's been there for years, and then you launch an incredibly loud fart.
Yeah, that's how you be kind of a jerk about it afterwards.
Yes, exactly. That's how you do it.
And you just claim that's just my thing.
Hey, this is what I do.
That's exactly right.
I had a coworker, this text says, at my high school job at a sporting goods store who told me he had a double degree at Harvard and he actually almost found the cure for cancer, but you see what happened was the government told him he couldn't do the research.
Oh, no.
That's too bad. How unfortunate.
He was just trying to do his own research.
We got that close. Now, thanks for all the texts. There's a lot of great ones coming in. Sorry the ones we couldn't get to. This has been fun.
We'll remember this for next time.
Yeah, we're going to have to. Congratulations to Rug Burnt Nipples, Jesus, on 36 Days Sober from Blacktop. Mojo, Mofo, Daddy-O, Jesus. And
Tell you what, Cubby, if my nipples were rug burn, I think I'd have to drink to kill the pain.
Oh, I'd imagine it'd be very stingy, yes. Congratulations to you and from everyone here at 93X. Shout out for the new members of the Brother and Sisterhood. Aurora and Illy came home on Saturday from Just Your Average IT Guy Jesus. Happy birthday to Pipe Fitter Jesus from Big Sexy Jesus. And again, everyone here but Wapple at 93X. And finally, happy birthday to Magnut Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
On behalf of myself and Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, we would like to wish you a very happy holidays. And don't forget, Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is open 24/7 for emergency services to make sure you stay warm this holiday season. Go to standardheating.com today.